Thanks so much for joining us this morning. My name is Mary Register, and I am so thrilled to welcome all of you here. I'm with Volunteer Florida, and I think I've communicated with most of you. And with the summer and everything, thanks for your flexibility. Thanks for volunteering to take this task on. I hope that today you're going to get some good information. And it's a pretty tight agenda. We want to try and make sure that you're out of here by noon and we get a break in the middle, but that you have a chance to get some good information, hear from our partners about some of the amazing things that are going on and the possibilities for mentors in your agency. And so without further ado, I'll introduce my cohort.
I'm Betsy McCauley, proud to say that I have been the District Volunteer Specialist for Leon County Schools. This is my 31st year, and shepherded the mentor program from birth when we started from 8 mentors at Gilchrist Elementary 28 years ago, and we placed 1,000 mentors in our school system last year, and we hope to add 500 to that count this year, which we can't do without your help. It's going to take a lot of effort, but I have a lot of children waiting, and we have other agencies here who also need mentors. And I'm not a territorial person. I want kids to get mentors wherever the mentor feels comfortable serving. But I have a long list of kids waiting. I mean, we want all of us to work cooperatively. We know that state agencies, you know, the employees get an hour a week to mentor. Our job today is to help you feel comfortable that this is not going to be a hard job to do. To recruit mentors, we're going to give you some tips, some forms, some websites to check out so that it's not going to be a heavy burden on you to recruit mentors and send them straight to us to get training, to other agencies to get training and get them helping kids. And your employees are going to benefit from it. So I think it's going to be beneficial to all of us to get this going. At this point, I'd like to introduce one of our partners, which is Volunteer Florida. CEO Chester Spellman is going to come forward and talk to you a little bit about the Volunteer Florida Agency.
Thank you, Betsy. Good morning. Thank you all for being here. I just wanted to start off by thanking a few people. I wanted to thank Mary Register. Mary is our Volunteer Services Coordinator at Volunteer Florida, and she is our lead for the Florida Mentoring Partnership. So Mary and Betsy are the ones that put this together. So Mary, thank you so much, and Betsy, thank you for all of your hard work in putting this together. Also, Zach Gibson. Zach is Florida's Chief Child Advocate, and he's been instrumental. Zach's in the back there. He's been instrumental in helping as the representative from the governor's office in putting this campaign together. And then Ross McMullen. Ross is in the back. Ross is with huge advocates, and along with Commissioner Bennett has been just fabulous partners. And all of our mentoring partners here, there's many of you here, and we really thank all of you for being here and being a part of this initiative. Last but not least, I want to thank Steve Buhlfelder, who is the chair of the Florida Mentoring Partnership Advisory Council, and he's the co-founder and co-chair in the past of the Governor's Mentoring Initiative. So Steve's been in this for a long time, and we're so glad he's a part of the team. So on behalf of Governor Scott and Commissioner Tony Bennett, thank you for being here, and thank you for being a part of Florida Mentors. We're so excited about this campaign, and we believe this is going to make a huge difference. We know that as mentor liaisons that this is extra work that you're taking on, and we just are really appreciative that you have seen fit to participate in this initiative and work with your agencies to recruit mentors. So thank you so much for being a part of this. We're just so excited to partner with Superintendent Pons and Leon County School District in recruiting state employees to mentor. The superintendent has a goal of 500 new mentors this year, and I believe that with state employees alone, we can have 500 mentors. So I'm shooting for so much more than 500, and I believe that together we can achieve that. So thank you so much. If there's ever anything I can do for you at Volunteer Florida, please give me a call. And I neglected to say that Volunteer Florida, we are honored to administer the Florida Mentoring Partnership. This is a new responsibility that our organization has taken on, and we're just thrilled to be able to promote mentoring statewide. We're going to start this statewide initiative focused here in Leon County on the Florida Mentors campaign. So again, thank you for being here, and look forward to the next couple of hours with you. Thank you. Let me introduce Superintendent Jackie Pons.
Thank you. Again, I want to thank each and every one of you for being here today. As we reach out to you to ask you for help, we appreciate you helping us with this new effort to get 500 mentors. Betsy mentioned, Betsy does a great job. We currently have over 1,000 mentors, so we're trying to add another 500 to get to 1,500, and I don't think we could accomplish that without your help. You know, Steve Ufelder's here, who led the effort statewide, and you know, he's kind of a role model. His effort was for what we're trying to do in Leon County, and it was actually his idea that when he came forward and challenged us to do this. So I thank him for his leadership. I do want to introduce Rocky Hanna that's with me today. He's my partner on this, and he'll be going with me and sometimes on his own to the state agencies with Betsy. If you need us to come and drink a cup of coffee with you, or drink a cup of coffee with all the individuals that are in your department, we'll do that. If you need us to come speak, whatever you need, we'll do. So Rocky, if you'd raise your hand back there, he's going to be my leader on this with Betsy, and will also be helping me with this. But again, we've got a great school system. We appreciate the commissioner's help on this, Governor Scott's help on this, all the different organizations that are here represented. As Chester said, it takes a team effort to do something like this. And on behalf of all of our children here in Leon County School System and some of the best teachers in the nation, I just want to thank you for your help on this. And if there's anything we can do for you related to education, we're here for you. Thank you, and y'all have a great day. And we got posters, right, Betsy? We've got a poster for all the state agencies to take back with you. If you can put it up, we would really appreciate it. And I guess I get the honor of introducing Mr. Mentor, Mr. Steve Ufelder, from right here.
Thank you very much. This is a great group of people, and I know with your involvement, this is going to be a very successful campaign. I'm supposed to talk a little bit about the history of Florida Mentoring Partnership. When Governor Bush first got elected, I went to him with a group of people about an idea about getting state agencies involved in mentoring. And the reason I did that, because I had been a mentor for about 25 years, and I saw the benefits of it. But I also thought, because of his interest in education, one way to show your concern and your care is to actually being involved in the schools. And we kicked this off in 1999 with Colin Powell and Governor Bush. He changed the state rules with the cabinet to allow 1 hour a week off so you couldn't mentor. He also got involved by getting the agencies involved, and he led by example. Both he and the lieutenant governor mentored every single week they were a governor and lieutenant governor. And I think that set the example for agencies. About 90% of all agency heads mentored. And you know, I know you work for the agency heads, so you can't tell them what to do, but you can let them know that a most successful campaign comes from the top down. It's easy to tell somebody else to go do something, but it's also important those that are in leadership consider doing that themselves. I know that the Commissioner of Education and his wife are planning to work together to mentor a child. And I know many of the agency heads plan to do it. And both the governor and the First Lady have been very involved in child literacy, has been involved in working very effectively with children and children's programs. So the leadership of the state is involved in this, and we encourage you to get your agency heads involved. I know Commissioner Bennett has sent out a letter to all the agency heads, and it asked them to get involved and get you all involved, and that's why you're here. I think that being a mentor changes not only the life of the child, but also changes your life. And I think you learn just as much from a child that you're mentoring as the child learns from you. It's a great way to look at the way our public schools work. We have a great public school system, but we also have a lot of children that don't have adults in their life, and it's unfortunate. And it's unfortunate because these kids need role models. And the role models they need can come from people like you, and I think that makes a huge difference. It's great that we're going to try to recruit 500 mentors. I hope we recruit 1,000, because in Leon County, we don't have a lot of large companies or businesses. We depend on state government. We depend on Florida State, Florida A&M, TCC, and state employees to do a lot of the things that our big businesses that we don't have in this community would do in another community. So we really appreciate what you're doing. We think it'll make a huge difference, and thank you very much.
And we'll start with Big Brothers, Big Sisters there in alphabetical order. This is something that we wanted to add as an added benefit, hopefully to each of you, to allow these agencies that are on board. We'll be adding more partners, but to get us started, these agencies that are currently working with mentoring programs in our area, so that we're hoping that it makes your task a little easier if you can go back to your agency and sort of give the employees and your colleagues a menu, if you will, of opportunities that are here for them. So without further ado, I'll let each one of them get started.
Hi, good morning. Okay, my name is Sidian Trueblood. I'm the program director over at Big Brothers Big Sisters. With me today is actually our CEO, Luis Garcia. He's in the back. Okay, and I am very excited to be here today to talk to you guys a little bit about the mentoring opportunities that we have at Big Brothers Big Sisters. So before I tell you a little bit about our programs, I wanted to kind of give you a little history of Big Brothers Big Sisters. Okay, it's the nation's largest volunteer-supported mentoring organization. So that means basically we are driven by volunteers. We have to have volunteers to be our bigs. Big Brothers Big Sisters has been in existence for 100 years. Okay, and in the state of Florida for Big Bend, it's been here for 42 years. So we've actually been in the area for quite a long length of time. Okay? Our mission is to provide children facing adversity with an enduring and a professionally supported one-to-one mentoring relationship. Okay, we want to change children's lives for the better, forever. Our vision is that all children will achieve success in life. Okay? Now, how do we do this? Well, we do this by partnering with parents, guardians, volunteers, of course, which is why we're here, to try to recruit volunteers, okay, and others out in the community. What we want are for children to have higher aspirations in their lives. We want them to have greater confidence in their abilities, and we want them to make better relationships, just in general. Now, in order to do this, we need to recruit wonderful volunteers who are very dedicated. And I'll go a little bit into our requirements, which is why we ask for dedication in our volunteers. Okay? But let's talk a little bit about the programs that we offer. You will see that you were handed a flyer. And this is a nice flyer. It basically will help you sell the program to anyone who's interested. And it does have our programs included. We have what's called the community-based program. That might be what you think about when you hear traditionally Big Brothers Big Sisters. That's where our bigs and our littles, and that's our volunteers and the children that they are matched with, go out in the community. We try, or we hope, that the volunteers will help them explore different parts of the community. Okay? We ask for, at minimum, 4-hour commitment a month. Okay? So that's actually very doable. And volunteers and children can meet either on the weekday or the weekend. So that schedule will be set by the big, the little, and the parent. Okay? We have enhanced school base. Now that mentoring program is where the big and the little meet on the school campus. Right now we currently have 4 schools that we're running this program in. That would be Astoria Park, Hartsville, Oak Ridge, and those are elementary schools. In Cobb Middle. Now we do have a program running in a high school, and I'll tell you about that a little bit later. But for the enhanced school base, basically the volunteer will go to the school, they'll do whatever activities at the school with the child. That could be homework, That could be eating lunch or going out on the playground. Okay? We ask for a 1 hour a week commitment, and the only caveat to that is it's going to be dictated by the school in terms of when the volunteer can come to the campus. Okay? Now, our new program that we're very excited about is Mentor 2.0. So I don't know if you guys have heard about it, but we've been talking about it forever, and there are flyers in the back. Mentor 2.0 is where we're working with a select group of 9th grade Godby High School students. Okay? We are going to match them with a mentor. That focus of that program is to get that kid excited and through high school. And we want them to have a focus on college entrance, okay? So we're really geared to having kids excited to get to college, right? For that program, we have more flexibility in terms of what the volunteers can do, because you will meet with the mentee once a month. It's an event that we'll hold on campus at the school. We're going to facilitate that. And then you talk to your mentee over a secured email platform that a staff from Big Brothers Big Sisters will monitor, okay? So those are 3 programs that we have currently running. So of course, when you are speaking to your staff or employees, the question they will ask is, well, what's the qualifications? How do I do this? We handed out a What Now form. Okay? This basically will tell everything that they need to do to be a volunteer for our agency. Okay? They can go to our website and fill out an application. Right? A part of being a Big Brother for our agency is they do have to have an in-person interview. Okay? And a part of that interview, and it does last about an hour and a half to 2 hours, is because we really want to get to know the volunteers. If you think about what our program is, we're sending out a volunteer with a child, 1-to-1. Okay? We have to be very comfortable with that volunteer and their intentionality with that child. Okay? So we do a background screen. We do reference checks. We ask for them to give us at minimum 1-year commitment to be in a match. Okay, so to be a Big Brother or Big Sister, it's not easy, but it's very worthwhile. All right? Now, what makes us different when we, say, well, we're a mentoring organization? Well, we will follow the life of that match. So we will provide match support, which means one of our staff will be in contact with the big, that's a volunteer, the little, and their parent to make sure everything is going smooth. All right? Also, I don't want to take up too much time, but I want you to remember, because I've been doing this for a couple of months and I've been doing some interviews, and it seems like the biggest thing that volunteers have anxiety about is, well, what's expected of me? And it's not the 12 months, it's not the time commitment, it's am I to be a counselor? Am I to be a social worker? No. We do not ask for Big Brothers or Big Sisters to be social workers. We don't want you to be counselors. Okay? We don't want you to be perfect role models. All we ask for our volunteers are to be themselves and to be a friend. All right? So I will open the floor to any questions anyone has. Yes?
Can you tell us a little bit about your matching process? What kinds of things do you match people on?
Well, a part of that interview, and again, it's a pretty extensive interview, and there's standard questions that we ask everybody, is we're trying to get into a little bit of your history. We're trying to get into a little bit of your likes, the things you like to do, your activities. We're trying to get a little bit of background on maybe some of the characteristics of the big. We do the same thing with the littles. So we have another interview with the littles and their families. We try to make those matches off of compatibility. Do you have the same interests? Do you have maybe the same kind of characteristics? So, is it a perfect science? No. But that's a part of why we do that lengthy interview, is because we're trying to make those pretty good matches. Okay? Any other questions? Okay. Well, thank you very much for having me come out today.
Next, we're going to hear from Boys and Girls Club at the beginning.
Hello, everyone. My name's Jamie, with Boys and Girls Clubs, obviously. I'm going to start out by telling you a little bit about our programs in general, and then I'll focus more on the mentoring program that we have. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we see kids every day after school, during school breaks, teacher planning days, and over the summer as well. We currently see at all 4 of our clubs, across all 4, we have We average over 400 kids every single day. And where the mentors will come into play is being that one-on-one guidance for our members. Our staff are incredible. They do such wonderful things with the kids, helping them with homework. Of course, not over the summer, but there's summer reading projects that they have to do. They also, when we collect the report cards, which of course we have parents' permission for that, we see if a child is struggling in math or in science. We bring in tutors, and that person works with that child one-on-one in that specific area. Our programs have 5 core focus areas. The first and most important is career and academics. We really focus on academic success. Our one major goal is for all of our club members, no matter what background they come from, to graduate from high school on time, and that starts in kindergarten. We know that high school graduation starts when you start to learn. And when they graduate on time, to have a plan for his or her future. So whether it's going to college, Teresa would kill me if I said this, but if she knew I said this, but going into the military because she wants all of our kids to be safe, and military is safe, but that's still that risk there, so she gets nervous when kids bring that up. Getting a job, going for a couple years before going to college, going to junior college. We want all of our kids to have a plan because they can be great. They all have a great future and they have that potential, and we help them reach that potential and really develop the skills so that they can succeed in life and become productive citizens in our community. We also focus on healthy living. 3 out of 10 kids in this country are obese or overweight, and we help our members not get rid of that obesity, but maintain a healthy lifestyle. We have our Triple Play program, which focuses on fitness for the mind, body, and soul. The mind is healthy food options, eating healthy, making sure that they're making good choices in life. Fitness ties into our sports, fitness, and recreation program, which is just being active, having good competition, healthy socialization, and that ties into the soul component of Triple Play, which is healthy relationships, good sportsmanship, and learning how to socialize in a productive manner. Then we also have character and leadership. And that's just setting a good example. Of course, we want all of our staff and all of our volunteers are good examples for our kids. All of our mentors are as well. And we want our kids to be the ones setting good examples. We want them the older members to set good examples for the younger members, and the younger members even to set good examples for the older members as well, and for each other. If one of our 5-year-old members is behaving in a not so great way, another 5-year-old is more than welcome to go up to that person and say, you know, maybe you should try thinking about the situation this way, setting that good example. We also, like I said before, sports, fitness, and recreation, getting them involved in sports teams. If basketball is one of our kids' tickets to college, then we're going to push that person to play basketball. If chess, which I guess it actually goes more on the academic side, is one of our members' tickets to college, then we're going to push that person to play chess. And we will, of course, if that person does not like basketball or doesn't like chess, we won't force it upon that person. But if it's something that they're skilled at and they enjoy it, then we will help them develop those skills and become the best that they can be. And I just realized that sounded like the Army a little bit, which is not affiliated with us at all. We also, finally, we have the arts. We have a visual arts program. Every one of our clubs has an art room for visual arts. We also have dance at all of our clubs. We have a musical ensemble out in our Chattahoochee Club. More locally in Tallahassee, you may have seen our Stick Patrol. It's a drum line. We have step teams, cheerleaders. Any way that our members are able to express themselves in non-traditional ways, we encourage that, and we help them develop the skills so that they're able to do that. Now, where our mentors tie into all of this is providing that one-on-one guidance, like I said earlier. Our staff and our volunteers who help out around the clubs, they're incredible role models. Sometimes some of our members come from situations where they need that one-on-one guidance, even if it's just them getting excited about someone coming to see just that person. So with the mentors, just like with Big Brothers, Big Sisters, we ask you to just be yourself and just be a friend. with our matching process, we have you fill out an experience survey. And this, of course, is after the volunteer application process, which I have the volunteer applications on that table along with the experience surveys. And in that experience survey, you just fill out any background that you have. One of the questions on there actually has to do with if you were a good student in school. That's not going to disqualify you from becoming a volunteer or a mentor with our organization, because we have some kids who may not be the greatest at school. If they're struggling in certain areas, we might match them with a mentor who also struggled in those same areas. And we do that because we want someone who can relate and really create that organic bond with our members. Ideally, we would ask for our mentors to be with the members throughout their time at Boys and Girls Clubs, and maybe even continue that relationship when they're in college and when they're in the working world, just to be that positive guidance. For 5-year-old members, I know it's a little bit much to ask for a 13-year commitment right off the bat, but we hope that after 1 year, 2 years, you want to keep coming back. Or we hope after 1 visit, you want to keep coming back. With the application process, like I said, there's the volunteer application. I do a quick interview with you just to reinforce the commitment. We ask that you take your mentorship as seriously as a job, because it's not just it's not the type of volunteer work where it's just making copies or assisting at the front desk. It has a direct impact on the life of a child. We're changing lives at the Boys and Girls Clubs. You can be doing that as well. 57% of our club alumni say that the club saved their life, and you can be part of that. Through mentors, we help, or not through mentors, we do. What our mentors do is, like I said, provide that one-on-one guidance, that one-on-one support. And it's not necessarily being a therapist or social worker or anything along those lines. It's more, oh, I'm really upset that I can't go to the Stick Patrol performance because I have to watch my younger siblings. Maybe someone who is an older sibling and had to watch their younger siblings frequently when they were growing up. That's someone who we would match as a mentor and help that member overcome that sadness of not being able to go to the Stick Patrol performance, or maybe even helping to work something out. Of course, not babysitting the younger siblings while that member is off at the Stick Patrol performance, because we know that's a little bit much. But really just being someone to listen. Like I said, we see over 400 kids every single day, and we don't have 400 staff to provide that one-on-one guidance. So that's where the mentors fit in. So back to, I feel like I digressed a little bit, back to the matching process. With the experience survey, I will meet with you, have a one-on-one conversation, like I said, just to reinforce the commitment that we ask. And then we'll go through an orientation process, just a deeper history of Boys and Girls Clubs, some volunteer management things, signing in, signing out. All the volunteer opportunities are at our clubs. And we do have 4 club locations in the area, 2 in Leon County, 2 in Gadsden County. And those are on the flyer that are on the back table as well. And then after all that, I actually hand the experience survey over to our club directors. If you want to work at a club or volunteer at a club in Gadsden County, I would give it to the appropriate club director. And the club directors then go through your background and match you with a club member. We go over the commitment with you. You will actually meet with the club director, and he or she will give you more background information about that member that you're matched with, so that you're able to have a little bit of a background and you know what, not what you're getting yourself into, but kind of the situation that you're walking into when you talk to our members. And then we'll set up a schedule for you to come. Of course, the more frequently you can come, the better. But I know with state employees, you get 1 hour a month, and coming once a month is an excellent commitment to have. Oh, it is once a week? Even better. That's really exciting. So once a week, that's perfect. Every Friday, use that time at the end of the day, spend time with our club members. Friday's fun day, actually, at the club. So get a chance to experience more of the, I can't say more of the fun, exciting things, because we have fun and exciting things every single day, but the more, or the less structured, still structured, but less structured than the rest of the week. And I'm trying to think if there's anything that I left out, but yeah, I think I mentioned it all. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask. Yes?
What are the typical times that mentors would come to the clubs? Is it at the end of the school day?
It would be at the end of the school day. It's actually after school. Our clubs are open, during the school year, our clubs are open from 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. Some of our members leave by 5, some by 6, some at 7 o'clock, some at 7:15. But because our kids are in school all day, our club hours are after school. And over the summer, it's all day, 7:30 in the morning until 6 in the evening. Great. Thank you.
Hi everybody. I asked Chuck, our videographer, to make sure just to only take me from here up. Yeah, and to try to get my good side. Well, I'm the circuit director for the Guardian Ad Litem program here in town, and this is Tiffany Otley-Heim. She's in our office, and she's one of our child advocacy coordinators. I'm very happy to be here today. I worked in our state office, which is also here in Tallahassee, because our program is a statewide program, and I worked in our state office for a few years and helped our executive director at that time to implement our initiative to recruit more state employees. We worked very hard with great people like you in each of the state agencies to help get the word out about our program and try to bring on more state employees to serve as Guardian Ad Litem advocates. So I was so excited when I got the invitation, and I want to thank Mary Register and Betsy McCauley. It's so good to meet Mary and to see Betsy again, and we all work so hard to bring wonderful people in and make a difference for these children in our community. So I really appreciate the opportunity to tell you a little bit more about what we do and hopefully have your help to get the message out and bring people to us. Tiffany has passed out our brochure, and this is a brochure we use all across the state. Our Guardian Ad Litem advocates do the same thing all across the state. In fact, it's a national program. Those of you who may be from other states or have family in other states will know about our program either as Guardian Ad Litem or as CASA, Court Appointed Special Advocate. I wanted to make sure that I said who I am and where I work, but I'm the circuit director, and our main office is here in the Leon Court Annex. If I tell people it's the old traffic court building, they, oh yeah, unfortunately I know where that is. But it's on Thomasville Road, and we are so fortunate to be in there. We're funded by the state. Our employees are state employees, but we receive some county funding, and so we are really very fortunate to be in that building. Very centrally located for the employees to visit us and interview with me. And then we have another satellite office in Gadsden County, another smaller office, and they serve Gadsden and Liberty. Our program, again, our main office is in that court annex building, which is very convenient to the Leon Courthouse, thank goodness. But we serve the surrounding 6 counties, the Big Bend area. So the children we're serving are in all 6 counties, primarily in Leon, but we go as far as Franklin County and Liberty County in Bristol. But our mission is very simple, and I just love it. The child's best interest is our only interest. Our tagline that we use is from CASA, and it's I am for the child, and that truly represents what we do on a daily basis. We partner with individuals like you and with wonderful people in the community who want to get very involved in a child's life and make a huge impact, make a big difference. And they partner with our attorneys in our program and with our child advocacy coordinators. The 3 members, including the Guardian Ad Litem, make up the advocacy team. We advocate for the child's best interest. I want to emphasize the mentor role. You know, we're talking a lot about the importance of mentors, and what we've learned over the years is we've focused on advocacy for the children. That is a big part of what we do. We make recommendations to the court on the child's behalf. We stand up for them. We're very involved in the schools. We pride ourselves of being the best educational advocate we can be for the children. But many of our guardians serve in that mentor role. They're role models for the children, they're friends to the children, they're huge supporters, especially for our older youth, because our children that we're appointed to, the majority of them have been removed from their homes because of abuse and neglect. There are some children we're appointed to that are still in the home, and the hope is that with help and services, they'll be able to stay in the home and not have to be removed. But a good number of them are in foster homes or with relatives, and there was such a safety issue that the children were removed. We partner with our attorneys and our staff to identify what their needs are, and how our guardians do that is by talking with the caregivers, talking with teachers, communicating with counselors and therapists that the children see, and gathering all of that information in a very objective way and bringing that to our attorneys and our staff to help decide what recommendations we need to make on their behalf. And we're a party in the case, so our role is extremely important. The role of a guardian is very, very important in a child's life, and you can imagine at a critical time like this, it's important for everybody to be doing everything that they can to support the children. Our babies are newborn all the way up to 18 and 19 years of age, and that with a new law that was passed for youth to stay in until they're 21 in foster care, will be on cases a little bit longer. But our focus the whole time, every day, there aren't enough hours in the day, but our focus is every day to do everything we possibly can do to take care of these children and make their lives better. So that's our mission, and the qualifications for individuals that come to you and say, I'm interested in Guardian Ad Litem, I've heard a little bit about that. They've probably seen one of our car magnets that's out there, or there are posters that you all have a copy of, and hopefully you can put this in the lunchrooms in your buildings or on the community boards in your elevators, and they have tabs at the bottom, and folks can pull those tabs and then call us. We're looking for individuals who, of course, love children, and that's one of the things everybody says to me right away. I love children. I love being around them. You know, I really care so much about them, and that's, of course, a huge foundation that we're looking for. This is a very flexible volunteer opportunity, so it's not a set time throughout the week, and a lot of employees like that. A lot of individuals in the community like that. They can set the time that they go out and visit the children. Visiting the children is critical. We work every day to make sure that the guardians, our Guardian Ad Litem advocates, are visiting the children, checking on them, talking with the caregivers, making sure everything is staying good, and if it's not, getting that back to us so we can make sure something's done about it. But the guardians set those times. They say, well, weekends are best for me, or on the way home from work is best for me. So they set that time with the foster parent or the relatives. About 8 to 10 hours a month. A little bit here, a little bit there of the time. Visiting, of course, is a really important hour or so that they're spending. If they need to go to court, that's another hour or so. It all adds up to about 8 to 10 hours a month. They don't go to court every month, but we do ask our guardians when a hearing is scheduled to do everything they can to be present for that. For your sake, the employees may have times where it's just impossible for them to break away and be in court. And that's okay. We prefer them to be there, and so does the judge, but they're going to be communicating with good staff like Tiffany, and so we can share what the concerns are, what the recommendations are. But a lot of what they do is a phone call in the evening, an email in the evening, an email on their break, meeting with caseworkers during the day, taking an hour to go meet with them and discuss the case. So those are the qualifications. Individuals can volunteer with us if they're 18 or 19, and they can pair up with another guardian on a case. But coming in and having a case on their own, they need to be 21 years or older. In the back table, I've made sure to include the application, so you can see a hard copy back there. Do we have the website up here? I have the website listed over there. It's gal2.org. Thank you, Tiffany. It's a wonderful website full of lots of information. Our volunteer application is on that website and our training schedules. Our guardians, after they fill in this application and send it in, they get a call from me or from one of our administrative assistants, and they schedule a time with me. I interview everybody individually. I want to make sure it's a good match. This is a serious commitment, and I want to make sure that I've been clear about what the expectations are and that this role is going to fulfill what they're looking for. So they'll go through the training. It's a 30-hour training, 21 classroom hours just like this, listening to a lot of our wonderful guardians that have been doing this a long time and speakers from the community. Then someone can become certified as a guardian ad litem and sign an oath of commitment to one of the cases. So we've talked about the nonprofit, or the nonprofit is Child Advocates too, and you may see ads about that, and we have a 501(c) that supports us, and they raise money so we can spend it on the children. When there aren't other funds available and the children need help with getting that baseball activity fee paid, we tap into those monies. When our guardians go out and visit, and Grandma said they were dropped off to me a week ago and I only have 2 sets of clothes and their shoes are too tight, we're at Walmart that night and pay for that out of the nonprofit funds. Our 35th anniversary is coming up, and we are very, very proud of that. And we have a important goal to be able to make sure that we're making great strides, that every child coming into the child welfare system has a guardian ad litem advocate. I'm proud to say that in this circuit we have close to 300 guardians for 6 counties. We have close to 500 children, so we are really close at making sure that every child has a guardian ad litem. With your help, we can make sure it's 100% and it stays that way. Our training schedules are back there on the table. I have August and September. We train every month. So there's going to be a training that's convenient with the individuals that talk with you. There won't be one very far off in the future at any time that they come in. Please, I ask for your help to go ahead and post these so we can start getting those tabs in everybody's hands. And let's see here. If there's anything else that I forgot. Any questions? Nope. Thank you very much. I really appreciate the time.
You ready? I see lots of new faces and some faces that I remember. I'm Betsy McCauley, and I'd like to see the hands of the people that remember 1999 when we did the Governor's Mentoring Initiative. I think there are 2 people here. There's Peggy. Is Jan here? Jan Russo? Do you remember 1999? Were you here for that? You were almost here there. So Peggy was with us in 1999 when my office went from having 350 mentors and 6 schools, and in 6 weeks we had 1,400 mentors and 36 schools. And it was a roller coaster ride. Trust me, it was a lot of fun. So welcome. I'm going to actually have you use your notebooks because we worked really hard to put them together. And I want you to go to chapter 2. And I like having resources at my fingertips, so I want to assure you that almost every speaker that you're going to hear, there's a flyer on their program in chapter 2. So you don't have to write down names and addresses. But I want you to turn to the flyer. It's green, and it says Leon County Schools Mentor Fact Sheet. There she has it. Because we're just going to talk a little bit about Leon County Schools Mentor Program. You probably want to know, how is it organized? I train a mentor coordinator for every school, and our big heavy training cycle starts next week. We have a volunteer, a mentor, and a partner coordinator assigned for every school. So we have 125 people to get ready to greet our customers before school starts. And our fact sheet tells people what to expect from our mentor program. Very short and sweet. And when I get a little email from a state worker or a prospective mentor, they get an email back from me that says, welcome to our mentor program, and I send them that fact sheet. the job description for a mentor and when are our next trainings, and most importantly, the map of how to find the training, because I train in 4 different sites, so I make sure they can find us. And then I leave it up to them. Are they going to show up? They can register for the training through my office. Certainly they can call my secretary. I always carry double training materials because walk-ins are never turned away, never. So they're more than welcome to just show up, and we do our training. I always tell people allocate 2 hours. I will talk for about 1.5 hours, but they need that 30 minutes so they can get fingerprinted. We do not charge for our fingerprinting, and yes, even if you're wearing a state badge, we're going to fingerprint you. I have fingerprinted the Lieutenant Governor of Florida. We're very strict about this, and this is something that you need to tell your employees. When we do our background check, we will see everything that person's done since they were in diapers. We are very confidential. If we see something that's there that would restrict that person from mentoring, we might turn them down, and we do that by letter, but we do not discuss it with their employer. So if a person says they might mentor and all of a sudden they're not mentoring, if you call my office and say, "Oh, John said he's going to mentor and he's not," I cannot discuss with you why that person is not mentoring. So just to give you that kind of information, we keep everything very confidential. You will have employees that have passed the state background check who cannot mentor for us. I need to let you know that up front. So recruit, 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 but understand there are some people that we cannot take. The process is very simple. We train, then we fingerprint, because we don't want to spend money on somebody that hasn't actually sat in the training chair, because it's expensive. And we only fingerprint once every 5 years. We treat our mentors like employees. I have to get fingerprinted every 5 years, and so do our mentors. It's just a security thing for us, and they do wear their picture ID when they're with our children. That's absolutely critical. For our programs, I ask a mentor who cold calls me a 3 things. Number 1, what age child are you most comfortable with? Do you like little ones? Are you more comfortable with teenagers? Do you like high school because you can prep them for college? That's the critical question for me, because if you're not comfortable in those little bitty elementary chairs, you're not going to be a good elementary mentor. My perfect niche in my world is a 6th grade young lady. I love 6th graders. A lot of people are scared to death of teenagers. I'm not. This is just that's my perfect world. Other mentors just love elementary school. It's so bright and cheerful. It's a good place to start mentoring if you've never done it before. And I kind of coach people. They don't have to decide until the day of training where they're going, but they have to decide pretty much that day where they're going to go. The second question I ask is, how far are you willing to drive? I'm well aware gas is expensive. I always ask people, are you willing to drive a little farther to a more at-risk school that doesn't have a lot of mentors? Some people will drive from Northeast Tallahassee to one of my most at-risk schools because it's in their heart to do it and they have the money. So I'm going to ask them, are you willing to go a little bit further? Or for job reasons, do you need to mentor right next door to your building? Do you need to mentor on your way home from work? If that's true, I'm going to refer you to United Way's program. So I'm going to try to find the best niche for the mentor, because if I do, that mentor's going to stay. That mentor's going to be happy. So age of child, how far away, and then the third question I ask is, can you really look at your calendar and can you come once a week? Because an on-again, off-again mentor, guess what? That hurts a child. Now we know everybody has dentist appointments and colds and things like that. We know that people miss occasionally. But when people email me that say, well, you know, I'm retired, I vacation a lot, I spend half the year in Canada, I'm going to say, you know, I'd rather have you as a volunteer in the classroom, because if you're gone for a few weeks, months, you know, it's not going to hurt a child, but that would not be a good situation to make you a mentor. So everything is pretty cut and dried on our information sheet. What we really need to talk to you about is our kids really need you. I'm going to talk to you about the 4 first children that we ever placed mentors with. They were all first grade children. The very first one, very good home, 2 cars in the garage, lived in the Killearn area. Cute little blue-eyed, blonde, skinny little girl. And she completely stopped talking at all to anyone. She would go to school, she would stare at the wall, would interact with no one, not her teacher. Her mother was dying from a long, drawn-out cancer situation, and after 6 months, she couldn't cope anymore, and her brain just shut down like a clam, and she just said, I can't take it anymore, and she stopped talking. The principal said, this child is the first candidate for a mentor above anybody else. We're losing her. And we put a mentor with her for 3 years because it was such a difficult situation. Great father. He had 4 children to deal with, and she was the baby of the family. And she just had enough, too much sadness, and she couldn't cope anymore. The other 3 are the 3 little boys that I mentored that year. Again, I would probably tell a mentor, don't ever mentor 3 in the same day. One little boy was very bright. He was on that special medication for hyperactive children, but his mother sometimes would give him breakfast, and sometimes breakfast was a candy bar. And it didn't interact very well with his medication, and tutoring him was extremely difficult. And so I had to come up with real creative ways to help him. The other child I mentored was he was a year behind in maturity from the other children. It was like mentoring a baby. I had to hand walk him to the bathroom. And the other little boy he was average, he was just shy. So all 3 kids had different problems. All 3 kids scored close to 100% on their language and math at the end of the year. They all got something from being mentored first thing in the morning on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Different approaches for the 3 kids, and the little girl did fabulously on her testing after we put her with an older mentor, more like a grandmother type situation. I have all different kinds of kids. Some of them, the reason they're not doing well in school is what's happening at home. It's not that they're not bright, it's that mom and dad just split up, or one of the children in the family is very ill, or they just moved here from Georgia and they don't have any friends. Or is anybody here that was day they were born shy? I didn't speak for 6 weeks in first grade, which is surprising now. All these kids have hit little bumps in the road. They don't like math. They're never going to like math, and somebody's going to have to hold their hand for a very long time. They're just bumps in the road, and if they have an extra person helping them, they will do better. Our teachers are facing brand new testing standards, brand new things. You saw that some of our grades in our schools went down. So there's going to be great emphasis on helping our children with these new standards. So the more extra people we can have that will help our kids, not only academically but socially. Shy children don't raise their hands in class. They don't interact. I've seen mentors work with a child for 6 months and all of a sudden they're smiling, they're interacting in class, they're actually raising their hand saying, I know that answer, when at the beginning of the year they wouldn't do anything. I've seen mentors in secondary school get children to turn in homework who never turned in homework before. So the mentors' interaction and the positive influence they have is absolutely miraculous. You have people in your agencies that can do this. But the process is very simple. They have to sign up, they have to come to training, and yes, we are going to fingerprint them. And we work very hard to put them in a school situation where they're going to be successful, where either it's close to their home or close to their job, or a time frame that's going to work for them. I will warn you that a lot of our principals are saying, I'm going to protect academic time. So if the mentor says, I will only come at 9 o'clock in the morning and I'll only serve first grade, you know, that might be a problem because yes, when we teach reading in first grade, we usually teach it first thing in the morning. So I'm asking our mentors to be flexible about when they're going to be available. And I talk about that when we do our training. And I will have more information for you about recruitment ideas for your agencies. At this point, I have 3 trainings which are in the book scheduled in August in a very large room. I'm trying to work out some nighttime training, which I think some state workers would like. And they can always email me if they have any questions. And at this point, do y'all have any questions, burning questions that you think I need to answer? Yes, Steve?
Well, one of the points you made about one-on-one mentoring, if the person can't do one-on-one, you would be willing to accept two-on-one with a spouse or a co-worker.
I do encourage, especially people with heavy schedules, I will do double mentoring, matched mentoring, where there's two people serving one child. It works best in elementary school. Sometimes the teenagers don't like it too much. It depends on the child. But certainly in elementary school, it works beautifully to have matched mentoring, where pair mentoring, where you go on one week and your buddy in the next desk goes the next week. And I certainly, if you've got a super schedule or you travel a lot for your job, and what I've noticed is, especially in the elementary realm, the child doesn't care which one of you shows up. They just want you to show up. That's the main thing. On the secondary level, it's a case-by-case basis. It takes a while to get to know a teenager, so sometimes they're not real, thrilled about the substitute showing up. The critical thing about doing pair mentoring is both of you have to go the same day and meet the child and say, we're both going to mentor you. I'm Susie, this is Betsy, that's my sister, and we're both going to mentor you. And so sometimes I'll come and sometimes Susie will come, and they accept it immediately as long as you both are introduced at the same time. So that does take some of the pressure off that you need to go I don't encourage a group of 3, because by that time you've just confused the elementary child. But if you got a person that you trust, that you want to pair up with, I think it's a great idea. Somebody else had a question, I thought.
No, it was that.
Okay. Anything else? And we certainly will cover more when we get into recruitment and training later on in the agenda. Thank you very much.
Okay, next we're going to welcome Courtney Garcia from Reading Pals.
Good morning. Thank you all for having me. I'm Courtney Garcia. As Mary said, I'm from United Way of the Big Bend, and I am happy to be here today. I also have my colleague Allison Dodson with me in the back, and she works with the FSECC. So thank you all again for being here. And I wanted to thank all of those who spoke before me, all of the partner agencies. We're all here to really help children succeed, and I think that's wonderful that we all have that same sort of end in mind. I also wanted to thank specifically those who are pushing this great initiative and helped to set up the day today, and all of you who are here today. So thank you all for that. Reading Pals is a phenomenal program, and it's a collaboration between numerous local and state partners. In fact, we have 2 of them in the room today. I'm thrilled that I get to follow Betsy, because Leon County Schools is one of our partners for Reading Pals, as well as Big Brothers Big Sisters. We partner with them to conduct some of our training. As you heard, mentoring is so important, but really the purpose of Reading Pals is to get our children reading on grade level by the time they hit 3rd grade. That's the purpose of Reading Pals. Get kids reading on grade level by the time they hit 3rd grade. We know that a child is learning to read up until 3rd grade, and after 3rd grade, they read to learn. So what does that mean? If you start 3rd grade and you don't know how to read, how are you going to learn math? Most math problems in elementary school are word math problems. You read a sentence, how many, whatever, whatever. Well, if you can't read that, now you're behind in math. How are you going to read your history book if you haven't learned how to read? So our program focuses on kindergarten, 1st and 2nd grade students who have already been identified as struggling readers. And we work with them one-on-one, 1 hour a week for 25 weeks. 25 weeks is basically the school year. We follow the public school calendar. We are in 11 public elementary schools in Leon County and 1 elementary school in Gadsden County. So we follow the public school calendar. So when school's closed, we're closed. So 25 weeks pretty much is the school year. You'll go and you'll meet with your child one-on-one for an hour a week from about mid-September all the way through the end of April. There's a developed curriculum that United Way, along with Leon County Schools, has put together. This is geared towards struggling readers. It includes books, flashcards, games. How many of you have young children, or you remember having young children? Okay, how many of them are going to sit still for an hour? Right. So we've got flashcards and games and books built in to really captivate their attention for this hour. What's great about this program also is that it takes place in the after-school program. Leon County Schools has been an excellent partner with us and allowed us to come in their after-school program, their 21st century after-school and their extended day program. Our program takes place from 4:30 to 5:30, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. What's great about this is it's a set time. You get to choose what school works best for you and what day works best for you, Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday. But what's great about this for the kids is, like Betsy mentioned, they're not missing that academic time. Principals are reluctant to let them out, but kids, that's seen as a punishment. If they miss art, and they're missing art every single week because they have to go read extra books that their other friends don't have to do, or they miss PE. So we intentionally wanted this program to be in the after-school setting so kids are not pulled out of the classroom, yet they're still getting this academic enrichment that they need. So we know that investing early in a child's life will set them up for success later. It will also help with graduation rates. Did you know that 1 in 4 kids do not graduate on time? And that can actually be correlated all the way back to their 3rd grade reading scores. So again, our purpose is to get kids reading on grade level by 3rd grade. So details of the program I already saw. If you flip one page past Betsy's, you'll see the Reading Pals flyer. So in the green section there on the left, that's all of our details. Last year was our very first year. We surpassed our recruitment goal of recruiting 175 volunteers, and we blew past that and recruited over 200 caring community volunteers who met one-on-one with a child. This year, we expect to be no different. We want to blow past our goal of 250 volunteers, and that's where we need your help. One-on-one, again, kindergarten, 1st or 2nd grade. You read 1 hour a week for 25 weeks. Who can do the math really quick? 25 hours is your commitment, plus that training. We partner with Leon County Schools, so the training that Betsy mentioned, that's what you'll go through. We also have partnered with Big Brothers Big Sisters to come in and teach us about cultural competencies, diversity, how to really be a good mentor. Because part of, teaching a child how to read and gain their trust isn't just about reading, but about that trust and that relationship that they have with you as well. The program takes place through the after-school program, as I mentioned, from 4:30 to 5:30 on Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday. You can pick which day works best for you, and you can also pick which school works best for you. So you'll see there's a list of the 12 schools. Again, 11 of them are in Leon County. 1 of them is in Gadsden County. So any school that works best for you based on your location to home or your location to work works for us. The curriculum is already developed. As I mentioned, that is awesome, because what that allows for is that you can leave work at 4 o'clock to make it here by 4:30, and you don't have to be stressed and think, oh my gosh, what am I going to do with my child today? Oh, I really wanted to bring that book, but I left it on the kitchen island. You don't have to think about that. It's turnkey. There's 50 lesson plans already developed. Now remember, how long is this program? 25 weeks. We have 50 lesson plans. You are not going to run out. Trust me. They don't go in any chronological order, so you don't have to do lesson 1, 2, 3, 4. It's all based on the child's interest. So you'll get to see the lesson, the title of the book. So you know your kid loves dinosaurs. So you might want to choose dinosaurs, how I love dinosaurs. And the next week, snakes. And some, once you know what their interest is. If they want to read dinosaurs 3 weeks in a row, great. Great. Repetition is great. Repetition is how kids learn how to read, so that's absolutely fine. You wanted to do lesson 7 and it's gone, do lesson 17. So it doesn't go in chronological order. It really allows for, it's a set curriculum, there's certain things you have to do, but there's flexibility built into it. Pick what you want. Play the game first and then read the book. Read the book and then do the flashcards. It's all there for you, but you can do it in your order or based on your child. We had one child last year. He wasn't going to talk unless he got to play the game first. That's the only way you were going to crack his shell. You played the game, he was good to go. We had another kid who wanted to read the book first. And then the mentor was so great because during that hour, everything they talked about, they were able to relate it back to the book. That's just based on, volunteer preference, that kind of thing. And you receive training. Again, the background check, the fingerprinting, everything like that. We follow all of Leon County Schools' policies and procedures. Now, it's a big commitment, right? 1 hour a week for 25 weeks. You've got work. You've got family emergencies. You've got that trip to Germany that you have been planning for 6 months. I get it. I get it. What we ask is that we want our volunteers to make a commitment. It is a big commitment. We need you to understand that. However, we also know that emergencies happen. If you think that you are probably going to not be able to attend 3 or more weeks of these 25 weeks, probably not the program for you. These children were in all of our Title I schools, and unfortunately these children have probably had more disappointments in their life than I've had in mine. We do not want to be another disappointment. When you say you're going to be there Tuesday at 4:30, we want you to be there Tuesday at 4:30. Now that's not to say you haven't been planning this Germany trip for 6 months and you're going to miss 1 or 2 because you were also sick 1 week. That's great. We'll take you. You're committed. That's wonderful. What we have is an alternate pool. This is also something that's available to you or your colleagues. If you don't think you can sign up for the full 25-week commitment, but this is something that speaks to you, be an alternate. They are fantastic because when Betsy can't show up on Tuesday at 4:30 because she's going to Germany, I can call a list of alternates and I can say, hey Sally, I need you at Hartsfield at 4:30 today. Can you make it? And Sally can then say yes or no. Sally's been trained on the curriculum. Sally's gone through the background check and the fingerprinting. She's good to go. And I can slot her in. Yes, the child doesn't know her, but it's better than nobody showing up. We don't want to be another disappointment. So something to think about is that alternate route as well. Of course, we want committed reading pals who can do the full 25 weeks, but you know your busy schedule, you know your family life. If that's not something for you, be an alternate. We will call you every single week, I promise, we will. And you could just say yes or no if it fits for your schedule, but that's something that we need also so that we can uphold our part of the commitment to our children. The best part, the kids get a book to take home every single week. How long did I say the program was? 25. 1 book a week. These kids are walking away with 25 brand new books for them to keep. For many of these kids, it's their very first book they've ever owned, and it's the 25th book they've ever owned. It's very, very cool. These are all age appropriate, grade level appropriate, reading appropriate books. What questions do you guys have for me? You have to tell us you want to renew. We are very excited. We're in the process right now of recruiting for this school year coming up, and we are very pleased that so far 35% of our Reading Pal volunteers from last year have recommitted to this year. That's your choice. We just ask you to make a 25-week commitment initially, and then you get to decide if you want to keep that going. Any other questions? Thank you for your time. On the bottom of that flyer that's in front of you is my contact information. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to call me. Also, all of our trainings are scheduled. They're scheduled for late August, mid-September. We do have a Saturday training as well, and so I can give you all of those dates for anybody who's interested in that. And then just like Superintendent Pons said, invite him for coffee and he'll talk to your folks. If you need me to come in and talk to your staff or employees, I'd be happy to do it too. I do get bribed easily with coffee, but I'll come any time of the day. Thank you guys, I appreciate it.
Good morning. Oh, that sounds terrible. Good morning. Thank you, thank you. As you can see, I am not Wendell Johnson. He wasn't able to make it this morning, but my name is Wanda Lewis, and I am the mentor coordinator for Take Stock in Children, Leon and Wakulla counties. We also have a mentor coordinator for Gaston County. It is vacant. If you know of anyone that wants to fill that position, that would help us a lot. In any event, let me tell you a little bit about our program. I promise you, I won't be long. I know it's probably time for your break, but our program is very unique in the fact that we are twofold. Now, we do have budget cuts going on, but I'm going to explain it as if we don't. So, twofold. One is the College Reach Out program. Our College Reach Out program is geared towards those students who parents are on free reduced lunch for their children, they're on welfare, that type of thing, okay? We have one application. It's two-sided. They fill out that application, and if they meet that requirement for low income, then they are accepted into our program. But we do not accept behavioral issues, so you don't have to worry about that. Now, once we get them into our program, we are trying to target them to help them academically if they need to. do better in school. We're trying to help them, I guess, on their days off, on holidays, things of that nature. We're trying to help them do something more constructive with their lives. Think about school, think about college. And as they're doing that, we're also looking at them for the second part of our program, which is our scholarship component. We have the Take Stock in Children program scholarship, and we also have the Challenge Scholarship. Our Challenge Scholarship is through our TCC Foundation. They raise money so our students that do get the scholarships can go to TCC tuition free after high school graduation. Okay, the Take Stock in Children Scholarship allows the student, once they graduate from TCC, to go on to any public university in the state of Florida, tuition free as well. Now, I know you're wondering, okay, that sounds wonderful, but again, remember I said twofold. So we're looking at these students in the College Reach Out program, we're observing their behavior. They have to go through a process. It's just a year long, okay? We have various activities throughout the school year. We conduct financial aid workshops. We conduct like learning styles to teach them what type of style of learning they do have so they can be productive and also do well in school. Just several different things. Sometimes we have fun things as well. Like for instance, how many of you love FSU? FAMU. TCC. All righty. Well, sometimes we take them to the football games at FSU or FAMU, or the basketball games at TCC, just to keep them interested and let them know, hey, we want you to have a good time, but we're trying to edutainment as well. Also letting them know, hey, education is really important. And while you're in our College Reach Out program, if you're doing well, then we're going to consider you for a scholarship. Now, we're not looking for the scholarly. We're actually targeting first-generational students to go to college, okay? So they only have to have a 2.5. But that Take Stock in Children, the one that everybody really, really wants to have, we want them to have at least a 3.2 GPA. Okay? Now, as I was saying, it's a year-long process. They go through, they come to our activities, we observe them, and then we have interviews, etc., not only with the students, but with the parents as well, to make sure that the parents are involved too. Students learn through their parents as well. We want to see that they are going to support them in the things that we have going on, and we have parent meetings as well to get suggestions from them. What do we need to be doing better, etc. Okay? Then once they have the interview, we have like a retreat for them, a camping retreat. Now, me per se, I am not going out in the woods sleeping nowhere on the ground, but it is in cabins. We take them to different camping resorts or whatever, and we have a wonderful time. But again, we're still observing their behavior. We're still trying to decide, what are they going to have, a Challenge Scholarship or a Take Stock in Children Scholarship? Well, I know I haven't said this. We are targeting middle through high school students. Middle through high school students. So once we observe them and we see what type of scholarship they actually are eligible for, then when it gets closer to that junior year, that senior year, we're going to give them that Challenge Scholarship, or we're going to give them that Take Stock in Children Scholarship. And again, they can utilize it once they graduate from high school. Okay, now on to the main part of what we're talking about, mentoring. We need mentors for these students. We need mentors for these students, because I believe we have a little over 200 students in our program right now that actually have scholarships, but they don't have mentors. And remember what I said, not a scholarly scholarship, but we want to make sure that they get there. We want to make sure that they're successful in college. So we have students right now, like I said, that have scholarships, but they need mentors because their grades are falling below that 2.5. Can you believe that? 2.5 is what? A C. Now, when you think about mentoring though, you definitely are thinking about, okay, what am I supposed to be doing? For us, we just want a role model. We want somebody to say, hey, stay focused, do well in school. But now, tutoring is another story. If you feel comfortable tutoring, we definitely want you to do that as well. We want you to help them, or at least let us know what's going on with them so we can get them the proper help that they need. We have a tool like Smart Thinking Online. Has anybody ever heard of that? Smart Thinking Online actually is a tutoring program 24/7 that's through, hopefully if the parents have computers in their home, they can utilize that day or night, okay? Also TCC offers that as well. Once the students graduate from high school and come to TCC, they offer it for free as well. Just anything that you can think of to help them, that's what you want. Take Stock also offers toolkits. These toolkits will lead and guide you on what needs to be said during a mentoring session. Now, I know sometimes when you think about it, it's like, oh my gosh, I would love to mentor a student. But what am I going to talk about? What are we supposed to be doing? Well, this toolkit will help you, and it is grade appropriate. So if you choose a middle school student, it would allow you the subject matter which you're supposed to be talking to them, and also high school student. Now, for us, we do have a lot of limitations because of liability, but our requirement is 30 minutes to an hour once a week during the school year only. And we also partner with Miss Betsy, and yes, you do have to get fingerprinted, and you also have to get background checked. Okay, but the main thing, getting back to the students, is to help them to stay focused. If they don't have the scholarship, to get the scholarship, and then when they get the scholarship, to utilize it once they graduate from high school, and then go on to a university to get that career they want, and then to have that successful career that they want. Make sense? Okay. Does anybody have any questions? I was that good. I'm just kidding. No questions? Alrighty, well, definitely like everyone else, I do have flyers. I have applications on the back as well. But if you want to look at our website, definitely go to TCC, just put in the search engine, CROP, Office, C-R-O-P, and it'll tell you everything that I haven't told you or you need to know more. And thank you for your time. Bye-bye now.
Okay, good morning, everybody. Thank you, Mary, for having me. So yes, I'm last minute, so I'll just try and hit some highlights first of all. Junior Achievement has been, I don't know how many of you are familiar with Junior Achievement or have heard of it, but it's been around for about 100 years, almost, literally. And we have a local program. I'm the program manager for Leon County. It is a statewide and national program, and we focus on teaching kids financial literacy in the classroom. Our focus is on work readiness, entrepreneurship, and personal finance. So our volunteers are, all of the programs are volunteer delivered. These programs are not delivered by the teacher ever. I coordinate volunteers from the business community and from the community in general, and they go in for 5 to 7 one-hour sessions. So unlike a lot of the programs and mentoring that we've heard, this is teaching a classroom of kids. The teacher makes a request to have this taught in their class, and then the volunteer goes in and does 5 to 7 one-hour sessions. It depends on the grade, kindergarten through 12th grade. All of the kindergarten through 7th grade programs are set programs for that age group. In high school, we focus on entrepreneurship. It's called Be Entrepreneurial, on personal finance, and on work readiness, which is a success skills program. So you get to choose what grade level you're interested in. I try and match you to a school that's close to your work or home. And then you would do the 5 to 7 one-hour sessions, and we offer that in the fall and in the spring. So the volunteer can do a fall program, or they could do spring, or they could do both. We are a nonprofit. We have just formed our board of directors, brand new here in Tallahassee, starting January the 1st. And we have about 100 volunteers. We've been in Tallahassee for about 10 years. And so we have an established program, but as we are growing, I have an overview which each of you can take, and brochures on the back table, but we typically have focused on in elementary 3rd through 5th grade, and this year for the first time coming up this fall, we will start trying to track the kids kindergarten through 12th grade. So we're using feeder patterns in an elementary, middle school, and high school, so that they're actually getting the material as it's really intended. So does anybody have any questions about Junior Achievement? Maybe I can focus on something that's the program is I train. We provide all of the materials. I do the training. I'm happy to come and speak to your individual agencies, and you can put a group together. I'll be happy to come and speak to them. But I do all the training, and everyone gets a material packet and for that particular grade or class, And it's loaded with hands-on activities. It's for about a 50-minute class. And so you're given everything that you need and the training. It's all free to the schools. That's what Betsy loves. So the schools don't have to pay for it. As I said, we're a nonprofit, so we raise our money to provide the materials in the classroom. That's it. All right. Thank you.
Thanks so much. So I'm glad we got to learn about the partners and that each of them got to tell you a little bit about what they do, and you could hear it from them. All of their materials are on the table. Please take some of their brochures with you if that will help you in recruiting. And now we're going to move into some of the finer points of the job you've taken on, and tell you again and again, thank you for volunteering and taking this on. And let us know how we can help you with information and ideas moving forward. You'll have all of our contact information. I'm happy to supply other things for you. Behind Volunteer 101 in your tab, there is nothing right now, but I have some of the materials that I can share with you if you're interested. And without further ado, I'm going to introduce Kimberly Kemp from Department of Management Services so that she can go through the finer points of keeping track of the hours and how to deal with timesheets and what the actual rules are.
Thanks, Mary. Good morning, everybody. Yes, it is still morning. It is not afternoon as much as we might wish it to be, but we should not be wishing our lives away. So it is morning. As Mary said, I'm Kimberly Kemp. I'm with Department of Management Services, and we administer the attendance and leave process for mentoring and volunteering. I recognize a lot of faces in here, so hi, good to see you guys. Who all in the room is with the State Personnel Service, with state government, working at a state agency or department? Okay, all of you have a code, a leave code that you can use that will count towards mentoring or volunteering. So we're going to get into that in a little bit. It's an administrative code rule, 60L34. 60L34 governs all the attendance and leave rules for the state of Florida. Everything from annual leave, sick leave, administrative leave, which covers jury duty, death in a family, military leave, and mentoring or volunteering. So we're here today to focus about the mentoring hours. What it says is that every employee, full-time employee, not OPS employee, not part-time. It would be prorated for your part-time employees. But every employee can use at least up to 1 hour of administrative leave per week towards mentoring. Can they use it aggregated? I know some people earlier today talked about training. They have to come for a training session. Yes, you can combine all of the hours up to a 4-hour session. So if they had to go to a training session to learn how to be the volunteer or mentor in the school, then they could use 4 of those hours as administrative leave. Now, a weird thing happens, and we're going to talk a little bit about what happens if there's more than, it says 1 hour a week. Some strange months have 5 weeks in it. So do I only get 4 hours? No, if there are 5 weeks in that month, the person could get 5 hours of administrative leave. But they can't aggregate and take 5 hours for training. They can only take 4-hour blocks. And if they go to the training session, they learn how to be a mentor at Raw Middle School, and then at the end of the month, they want to go in and spend some time reading with a student for 1 hour, then there would be 5 hours of mentoring hours on that timesheet for that month. But that's because there were 5 weeks in the month. If there are 4 weeks, they can only use 4 hours. Okay? Also, the thing about volunteering and mentoring, when they use those administrative leave hours, it can only be used to bring the person up to their scheduled work hours, not for overtime purposes. So if they're scheduled to work an 8-hour day, they go and deliver Meals on Wheels, or they go to a Reading is Fundamental program. They read in a school. They're gone for an extra hour. They use their administrative leave. They come back to work. and at the end of the day, something crosses their desk, a special priority project that has to be completed today. Has that happened to anybody? 5 o'clock, no, 4:55, somebody comes in and says, I have to have this done before you leave today. And you're like, I'm supposed to leave in 5 minutes. But you wind up staying for 2 extra hours. So your 8-hour day has become a 10-hour day, but you used an hour of administrative leave to go into the school and read to a child. So you want to claim 11 hours. You cannot claim 11 hours. It's just going to take it back down to your full hours. But we wanted to invoke a program so that people could give back to the communities, give back to the schools, and not have to use their annual leave. So this is a way that they can do that. At your agency, agencies can use charge objects. Charge objects, while there is an overall code for mentoring hours, if the agency wanted to break it down even more specifically so they could keep track, was it mentoring, was it volunteering, was it in a school, which we've talked a lot about today, or was it delivering Meals on Wheels, which is not in school but still covers mentoring because it meets an elder need, then they can set up charge objects. But that is based on the individual agency. If your agency wants to do that, they can go into the People First system. Most of you all are aware of that system. We have to use it for our timesheets. They can plug in the agency, so it would be your HR office, would create those charge objects, and then you could track it down to a lower level as opposed to just mentoring. The hour type code. It's important, especially since we're having this kickoff of mentoring and volunteering in state government. It's important that employees keep track of the hours that they mentor. The hours type codes. There's 2 different codes. You have code 44 in the People First system when you're doing your attendance and leave timesheet. Code 44 is for mentor volunteering. Anything that meets the definition set by statute, which is to provide a child, human, or elder care need. That would be counted as code 44. People use that to make their work hours, for example, an 8-hour workday. They're gone for an hour reading to a child. They only work 7 hours. They put 1 hour of admin leave. They had their full hour workday. So they can use code 44. But what happens in the situation when I said, oops, I was gone for an hour, I was at the school helping out, with a math, project that they had that day, so it meets the mentoring, but I had a special project and I worked overtime. Do we just want to ignore that? Well, there's another code that can be used. People do not use it that much, but it can be used, and it's code 1008. Now what that does, it doesn't add into your work hours, but it shows that the employees of the agency are giving back into the community which we live. So that hour is not used that much, but it is there. And I think the reason people don't use it is we don't know about it. It's not publicized. People are like, wow, I volunteer all the time at the animal shelter or with my church. And we're like, those are volunteer hours. They just don't meet the administrative leave provisions, so you can't count them. But the agency might be very interested in tracking who's doing what, who's giving back to the community. So you might want to start focusing a little bit and talking up the code 1008 so that people know it is an option to use. Yes, sir?
So based upon your example of doing an hour of mentoring, coming back, getting the special project, and maybe taking an hour or 2 longer than your regular work.
Right.
Would it be appropriate to use that code 1008?
Yes.
To reflect that?
Yes.
But still record the 9 or 10 hour day that you actually work?
Correct. In the system, you would record the 9 or 10 hour day in code 1000, which is hours worked. Then if you tried to do code 44, because most of the average employee is not going to know, oh, it's a weird code, it's code 44, I use it every month. They'll put code 44 in. When they hit submit, they're going to get an error message that says you can't use code 44 because you've already exceeded your hours for the day. If they go in and use code 1008, it'll go through smoothly and there will be no error message. That way we can still capture it. The employee can say, look, I am giving back, but I'm also working extra hours to complete my special project. Okay. When do you use code 44? That's what most people are going to use. Combined regular work hours and personal leave are less than the total hours scheduled. So it meets them to that 8-hour day, that 40-hour work week, that 170-hour pay period for monthly employees that happen to have 170 hours in the month. So they look at that pay period, okay? So it takes them up to their regular hours. They shouldn't have to use their annual leave if they truly are meeting in that mentoring fashion. That's why we allow them to use that administrative leave. It's only that amount necessary to bring them up to that pay period. So it doesn't count towards overtime. Because if it counted towards overtime, for those employees who do get paid for overtime, in a sense, it would stop being mentoring and volunteer hours because it would be a paid job that they went to go to a school and read to a child. So that's why we just want them to bring them up to that pay period. When do you use 1008? And this is going back to your question. Combined hours are already more or at what you were supposed to work, an 8-hour day, a 10-hour day. Correctional officers, I think, have 12-hour days. So what if they did something before they came on shift, they wanted to count it, it puts them up to 14 hours, they would use that 1008. To record excess hours on any particular day, non-work days, because a lot of times people will go and volunteer on the weekends. They volunteer after hours. They do things out of school, you know, on a Saturday if they're having a book fair and reading fair, things like that. So they could count that 1008 towards those mentoring hours. And your OPS employees. Like I said, OPS employees, they don't get leave. But if you have a large population of OPS, as an agency, you want to track what are we as an agency at Department of Revenue giving back to the community in the form of mentoring hours or volunteer hours. They could use that 1008 and you could track it that way. It's through the People First system. For state government, that's our attendance and leave time accounting system that we enter all of our time in. Using combination of 44 and 10,008 or 1008, we capture all of that information. We capture work hours, we capture sick leave hours, annual leave hours, and all of the mentoring hours. If your agency does establish a charge object code, then you could even break it down to what kind of mentoring hours were used. But that would be when somebody went in and said, I use code 44, and the charge object was whatever you all establish it to be for school-based, then we would know, oh, Jan did something with the school. Kimberly did something with, you know, volunteer services or elder affairs. That way you could track it as an agency. Okay? Why do we record? Why? Why is it important? Reporting purposes. It's good to know from an agency perspective, a volunteer perspective, the governor's office, hey, you know, what are your employees doing? If we track it, we can measure it. If we can measure it, we can report on it, okay? And then recognition. It's important to recognize those people in agencies who, they do, bless you, they do give back to the community in multi-forms. They work their 8 hours a day, they manage their life, their family, they're giving back to the community. So for recognition purposes, and I believe Mary's going to talk about it later, some recognition activities you can do, then if we track it, we'll be able to tell who we can recognize for that. Yes, sir?
So as the agency coordinator,
Mm-hmm.
who do I call to say, okay, I want the last 12 months, I want a baseline of how many hours were 44 and how many hours were 1,008, so I can say over the last 6 months to my agency that we've actually increased those.
You would probably call your HR office. Okay. Reporting purposes. As I said, we keep track of it and people first. The HR office has the ability to run reports on the front end. You could call DMS and say, will you run me a report? But the reporting function in People First is very simple to use. When you pull up the People First system, you would click on the Management tab. They have tabs up at the top. The second one in is Management. Click on that. You have to have the special roll code and the access to do it. So an employee can't run, just the average employee can't run the report, but HR certainly can run the report for you. And when you click on that Management tab, there's a report function. You click on that, and it says, what kind of report do you want to run? Time and payroll, timesheet. They pull up that timesheet report, and you can run it a whole variety of ways. You can run it for the last pay period, the last year, by person, by bureau, by agency, by code. Do you want the 44? Then you run one for the 1008. Do you want the 44? And then you could break it down with your charge objects if you choose to go that route. So it can spit a report out for you. Then you can download it in Excel, sort it however you wanted to for reporting purposes as the mentoring coordinator. Also, every year agencies have to report to DMS for our annual workforce report the hours that are spent in volunteering and mentoring activities. That runs through the HR office. The request goes to the HR office. Every agency reports it. And recently, many agencies say, wow, we don't have anything to report. We haven't been tracking that. But other agencies do report because ever since under Jeb Bush, when there was a big push for mentoring, people started tracking it and they kept doing it. So those agencies who did keep doing it, they do provide actual numbers for us. Many of them say, wow, we don't track that anymore. But it's still in the system. The ability to track it is there. Like I said, tracking, recording, easy for the employee. They're doing it in the People First system. It's where they do their timesheet anyway. So it's in there. They go to that time entry, they pull up their timesheet. When they use their hours, you know, code 1000 is hours worked, just your regular day. If you're out sick, you use code 52. Wow, I did some mentoring or volunteering, I'm going to use the appropriate code. Now, is the employee going to know that? They may not remember it. So it will be important if your agency starts doing the mentoring and volunteering and you have a big push to communicate that to employees that this is an option when you're doing your timesheet. Please track it accordingly so they use the right code. Because they very well could say, wow, I was gone for an hour and a half today at the school doing reading, so I'll just use annual leave. You know, it's my lunch hour and 30 minutes of annual leave. They could do that if that was their choice. But they could also track it under mentoring. Questions from anyone? No questions. Yes, I like questions. So.
What about scenarios?
Scenarios. Give me a scenario.
All right. So for folks that track their time monthly.
Right.
So the 4 weeks that are within the month.
Yes.
I do an hour of mentoring. And throughout the month, I go into the system, record my time, save it. But towards the end of the month, I actually start having additional projects. And I start working more time than my 8-hour day, which could offset the hours that I've worked previously encoded as 44.
Correct.
So at the end of the month, when I submit my timesheet, will I receive an error message?
Yes, you will. That system is relatively smart. So when you go in there and hit submit before your supervisor gets it, it's going to tell you, wait, something's wrong. You've used some hours, but you have overtime, so you need to figure out where to back it out. And it flags the day, so you would know, oh gosh, all that volunteer time that I used admin leave, and I did take a day of vacation and went to the beach, I'm going to have to actually use my vacation leave and not my admin leave. So it will read that so that you have overtime, you have vacation leave, and then you have that admin leave. It's going to eat the admin leave last. So it's not going to allow you to use it until you've used your annual leave and your work hours.
But for the purposes of me coding it as 44, when I receive that error message, I could actually go in and report it as 1,008.
You certainly could. You are great. We're going to use you as the communications person on this new effort. What agency are you with?
Governor's office.
Are you Zach? Okay, Zach. I like it. I know who to call now. Thank you. Yes?
Is there any, like, supervisor how to approve it or anything like, our agency head's very new to state government?
Yes. That is a wonderful, wonderful question. Does the supervisor have to approve that the employee is going to be gone in the middle of the day going to a school to participate in mentoring activities? The answer is yes, because if the person going out, say, is a receptionist, they're supposed to answer the phone, and they go missing for 2 hours, they take a 2-hour lunch, supervisor doesn't know it, they're like, where's my receptionist? Phone's ringing off the hook, right? It needs to be approved. The supervisor could say, wow, I can't let you go right now because I don't have anybody to cover the phones, can we do it later? That's why when people do participate in the mentoring activities, I know a lot of agencies have a mentoring form, so they know up front, you know, Jan is a mentor at, you know, Raw Middle School. We know she is. There are going to be times during the month that she may be involved in activities. So Jan usually knows. They don't call at the last minute and say, hey, can you show up today? I mean, she knows in advance. So she goes, oh, by the way, Irene, I know Jan's supervisor, Irene, I'm going to need to be gone next week for a Reading is Fundamental program at school. I'm going to work it into my workload. And she'd say, oh, not a problem. Or, oh, I need to be gone next week. And she says, wait, everyone else is out of the office. I need you here. So you do need to get approval, not to participate in the program, but to use those hours because you're not going to be on the work site. So yes, prior approval is required, just like with any leave.
Do you have a form that agencies use? Or does each agency have
Each agency develops their own, and I know some Revenue has a form that they use. I'm sure they would be happy to share with you. Maya Hollis, DOT, Jan Russo also has a form. And so what you do is you would take the basic template and put it on ACA, is that right? Are you with the Agency for Healthcare? OFR. So you'd put it on their letter, you know, on their letterhead and logo. Question, Mary?
And we can make sure that we get some of those forms that you can, you know, take a look at and share. I'm sure everybody in here is willing to share with you. Can a supervisor turn down your request to mentor?
That is a good question, and I do not know the answer to that because I don't know that it has ever happened. They don't tend to turn down your request to mentor. They turn down your request to use leave because it would be a hardship for the unit. But I do not, they can turn down your request to mentor if it doesn't meet the criteria of mentoring. For example, every year I volunteer at Red Hills Horse Trials. That is not a child, elder, or human need. Some people can make the argument that it is. It's not worth it to me. It improves our environment in which we live. Humans use the parks, but it's not worth it. So I know that when I take time off to go do my activities with Red Hills Horse Trials, it's annual leave or overtime because I've worked special projects, and so it offsets. But I talk to my supervisor and say, hey, I need to be off Friday because I'll be out at the park cleaning horse stalls or whatever I might be doing. So they could deny your request to mentor because they'd say, it's not mentoring. You know, this is not mentoring. We can't approve you to mentor for that faction. But I can approve you to use annual leave to go out there and do it. We've had requests come through as mentoring coordinators. People call us and go, somebody asked to mentor and do this. Is it mentoring? They wanted to paint their neighbor's house. And I said, I need my house painted as well. Have them come over to my house, but it is not mentoring unless it is through an organized volunteer activity like Habitat for Humanity, and then it would meet the volunteer criteria. But just my neighbor wanted us to paint the house. We've had a lot of rain lately. We have a sunny day. I want to take off tomorrow and paint. No. So they could deny it that way, but just a prescribed mentoring activity for a supervisor to say, no, I don't want you to participate in reading is fundamental. I've not ever heard that it was denied. Question?
I get a lot of calls from state workers and they want to use that hour to do service with their church. And I never know quite what to say to them.
Unfortunately, that is not a black or white answer. It's not a yes or no. It's a depends. If the church is going out to feed the hungry at a homeless shelter, that is a community need, and they're feeding them on a Wednesday for a lunch, or they're feeding them for Thanksgiving, which is not a work day for most of us. Department of Corrections it is, because they are 24/7, 365, but for a lot of us, we don't work on Thanksgiving. But people do go out and do a lot of volunteer activities through their church. They could capture it as 1008. It does meet a community need, but if they are going to their church to volunteer to clean the rectory or work in the library, something that's going to benefit the church, not the community, then that would be annual leave. Same with people wanting to go to a school to a parent-teacher conference for their child. It does not benefit the entire class, so to speak. It could, but it does not benefit the entire class. So what they do is they use a different leave code to go meet with the teacher to talk about their child. If they go to the school to work at a Reading is Fundamental Fall Fest book fair, where it benefits all of the children, it could be mentoring. So unfortunately, as you can see, there are some answers that are black and white, yes, no, but there is a lot of gray in the world of attendance and leave. That's why I try and wear bright colors, okay? So your role as mentoring, you all will become very, very familiar with what is and isn't, because some of it seems to be very straightforward. But when you get a question that comes across your desk, like working with my church, painting my neighbor's house, I think the neighbor's house, you'd be like, yeah, no. The church, you'd be like, that's a good question. Who are you going to call? You're going to call DMS, Human Resource Management, me, Kimberly Kemp. My number's in the back of your workbook, so you'll be able to find it. So if you have a weird situation, just give me a call, and if I don't know the answer, I'll either work it through my mind like I did for Mary's question, because I said that's a good question, but I will not make it up. I will find the answer if I don't know it. You had a question.
Yes, can people use the travel to get to a location as far as their leave?
Travel time is your own time. For reasons of, if you had to, say you worked in northern Leon County and you were volunteering, mentoring at a school in Wakulla County, and you are driving there and you have a car accident and you are on the clock. You have to be on annual leave because that is your accident. It's not the Department of Revenue's or whoever's. So it has to be annual leave if it's going to take you a long time. Difference falls when Meals on Wheels, you are in your car driving around the city delivering Meals on Wheels. Then once you start delivering those Meals on Wheels, you're on Meals on Wheels time. So they do have provisions that if you had an accident or something, they could take care of it. So that's more volunteering than mentoring. But yes, at Code 44 if it meets the criteria of, you know, the 1 hour. Other questions? Yes.
Is the mentoring initiative clearly defined in the rule where it spells out kind of what is mentoring, what isn't, what's volunteering, what isn't?
It is spelled out that if it meets a child, human, or elder need. Yeah, it's in the book, the slide for the rule. The way the rule is written, it's actually, I think, your first slide. And this is the rule, and it says there's two options: using admin leave for mentoring or volunteering purposes. And they really They really couch volunteering and mentoring as the same, because mentoring that we focus on today was primarily in the schools dealing with children, but there are also other types of volunteer activities that do meet that mentoring capacity. It's just not what we focused on today. It might be what you all focus at another meeting sometime, other types of volunteer activities. But it's to charge the hours up so they don't have to use annual leave. This is not the one that says child, human, or elder needs. Mary, let's see.
There was a slide in there that talked about.
It is here.
Is it?
This one here that
Okay, it's on the handout that Jamie did for us.
has the
Okay.
role, and then it talks about mentoring and community service programs.
It's not a direct quote, though.
Yeah, it's not the actual
Okay.
statute.
There is a direct quote, and it's either in the rule or the statute. I would have to find it for you, because I don't commit those to memory.
Can I email you for it?
You can.
Our human resource.
You're with Veterans Affairs? Okay. I will, I can email you if you want me to just email you, because I'll get back to my office probably before you get back to your office in Largo. So I will email you when I get back today, and it'll be waiting for you.
Well, one more point that I wanted to make before we let Kimberly go and we move on is it is my understanding that a supervisor can deny the mentoring, whether it's Meals on Wheels, it doesn't matter what it is. If there are performance issues, or you cannot override the supervisor, because the supervisor of the department, they know what the needs are. They're on the hook for those needs, and you may have someone, you as the mentor liaison, I'm sure you may not know every single thing that's going on or want to, and whereas HR and a particular supervisor may be working through something with an employee, and so they may say, I'm sorry, they're not eligible to mentor, and you just have to accept that that's the case, because at no time can this override the supervisor.
So that is a great point that you brought up, Mary, so thank you for pointing that out. You know, they could deny it. Does it mean on the weekend they don't help out with the church? They could. Could they charge those 1,008 hours? The system's not going to lock them out of that, but it's not going to go towards helping them meet their contracted hours for the work day or the work period. Yeah.
Quick question. We're trying to update our mentoring policy, and one of the things I want to do is require that every year they renew with us that they are still a mentor with this program. That's okay? There's no...
That is okay. There is nothing that would prevent you from doing that. Sometimes their focus changes. One year they might be at one school, the next year they may go to another school. So it would be wise for you all to know, you know, when they're gone and they're out of the office, where might they be? Because they are there mentoring. They are a representative of ACA, and, you know, we'd like to at least know they're at such and such school, or driving around town delivering Meals on Wheels, or whatever they might be doing.
And there's no way for people first to flag when they're using that admin code, so that the supervisor know, like, that we know we have paperwork that they did sign up. You know what I mean? Like, we had someone trying to mentor their own child using the 1 hour
parent one instead,
4 hours of mentoring,
right?
With their specific child. So we kind of wanted to flag those situations to make sure we have.
Yeah, people first can't flag it, and when they use that code, it's up to, you know, I know it's a scary thought that supervisors actually communicate with their employees. Frightening. Shame on us for having a huge initiative on performance evaluations too, which are going to require them to talk. See, we're really going all across the board, requiring supervisors to talk to employees. When they're out on leave, kind of know what they're doing. If it's admin leave, because it's paid time. If they're on annual leave, you don't need to get in their business. But if it is admin leave, it's kind of our business too. So where are you going and what are you doing? I'm going to a parent-teacher conference. No, you have to use the other hour, not the admin leave for mentoring hour. So family supportive workplace. So yeah, but no way People First can flag it. They can just track the kinds of hours that are used. And one more question, and then y'all have to move on to some other stuff. Yes?
I was just going to ask, what about non-public schools and or going to visit in your own kid's classroom?
Non-public schools are fine. They don't have to be public schools. They can still count towards the mentoring, you know, the code 44 or 1008, depending. Going to your own child's classroom, as long as it's not to benefit just your child, but it benefits the whole class. For example, you're chaperoning a field trip to the Kennedy Space Center. It's going to take way more than 4 hours, but you are there to ensure the safety of all the children, not just your own child. So could that be used towards some of your mentoring hours? Yes, it could be. Okay. Yes, Zach?
So is there an expectation to follow up with folks to ensure they're doing things the right way? So I'm saying I'm going to my child's school to read to the class when in fact I'm there to do some one-on-one with my kid. Is there the expectation that there's follow-up on that, or?
We are taking the employee at their word until such time as there is a reason for us not to take them at their word. And those words that does happen. And then it is the supervisor's responsibility to follow up on that. Quick question, sorry, Mary.
Why is that a problem? Let's say they weren't going to go see your kid.
It's a different kind of leave code, and they've already used the 4 hours of admin leave to do a reading as fundamental, but there's that 5th week in the month, and so they say, ooh, I'm going to use my 1 extra hour of admin leave. Oh, I'm reading to my child that I'm assigned under mentoring, and really they're going for a parent-teacher conference.
No, I meant what if they're really, really doing the mentoring with their own child?
They don't call that mentoring, they call it parenting.
Exactly.
So they don't, that's why they allow that admin leave hour for you to go to schools, because by and large schools are primarily open during our workday. So, they allow that 1 hour of admin leave for you to go and talk with the teacher if you can't make arrangements to meet with them afterwards, or attend the school play, or go to, bring your mom to lunch day, those types of things. Pardon? Or dad. I was talking to Ann. I would say dad if I were talking to you. I try and tailor my conversation. So, but yeah, so those you can use those hours to participate in your child's activities. It's just not under mentoring. So, okay. My name and phone number and email address are on the last PowerPoint slide in your workbook, because if you tried to find me in 411, you could not. I'm secret.
You're in the witness protection plan.
So, but yeah, so y'all can, give me a call, and questions, especially, you will get those tricky mentoring questions that come up. So give us a call and we'll get you an answer.
Are you going to be able to stay?
I can stay.
Okay, great. All right, and we'll just keep moving and try and dash through things quickly. So don't feel bad stopping, putting your 2 cents in. I usually say this at the front end, but because we are rushing through a lot of this, and my contact information will be on the last slide. Betsy's is there. The thing I want you to know is that we are a resource for you, and you may not hear something, or we may not tell you something today that crops up on an as-needed basis. I do want to fall back for just a minute to say that this effort on the part of Volunteer Florida taking over the Florida Mentoring Partnership statewide. We are administrating it statewide. This is a statewide effort, but this particular program, Florida Mentors, ! Is an initiative of the governor's office and the Department of Education. The governor took this on as a very important role for state workers, and the Commissioner of Education reached out to use administrative leave to foster and bring the whole mentoring back into the forefront, which was started, as we talked about earlier, by Governor Bush. And so what we decided to do was start in Leon County because we obviously have the largest number of state workers. We do recognize that some of you have state workers all over the state, and in some pretty big numbers. So we're dipping our toe here in Leon County to get started, but we will help you and show you some resources, hopefully, that can do some outreach, because those of you who do have, I know we've talked about Department of Corrections, corrections may have 1,500 employees in Miami-Dade area, and some of them may read some of your newsletters and things and say, well, hey, I want to use my hour in the school system here. Can they do that? Absolutely. There are 66 other Betsy McCauleys in the state at the schools. So that's one thing. So we can move forward and talk about that a little bit. With mentoring, today we are focused on the mentoring and the partners and the one-on-one tutoring and that type of thing. So really we're gauging opportunities for people to work in the schools, or, like we've tried to point out, giving them a menu of other opportunities with Big Brothers or Reading Pals. Maybe they think, you know, I'm a little nervous about mentoring a child. I don't want to mess some little kid up, you know. I'd like to start out here and move forward. So having some other opportunities where they can do something on the weekend, and it's still mentoring is, you know, what we are trying to accomplish. So the definition of mentoring under the administrative rule is different because it does include things like Meals on Wheels. Now, as Volunteer Florida, as a volunteer services consultant, I tell everybody I have the second best job in the whole state. I get to travel around and work with arguably the best people of Florida, volunteers. And there are incredible things going on across our state. It's terrific. I really do see the upside. I am never, ever going to turn anybody down who wants to volunteer. But not everything qualifies as mentoring under our descriptions today. So, you know, if you hit a snake, you're going to know. It's just like Kimberly brought up when we talked about it. You know, does Red Hills, hello, can I use my administrative leave in mentoring for Red Hills? No, that's not that. Yes, please do. Please keep volunteering for Red Hills. Please keep delivering Meals on Wheels. It's so important. It addresses so many needs, which there are lots of them in Florida. But in the mentoring we're talking about is in situations that have been identified by the schools. As Betsy said, she has a waiting list. Big Brothers, Big Sisters, all of these agencies have waiting lists, and they really need people to do different things. And as they all told you, not everybody has to sit down and be a math major. Not everybody had to enjoy school as a kid. Not everybody had to be an A student or a Rhodes Scholar. Sometimes it's, especially at the middle school and high school years, it's just as important to have somebody say, wow, I know exactly how you feel. That was me. You know, and just be the example. And so those are some things to keep in mind. And now I will move on quickly. There's a recognition of the value involving, as volunteers, people from all segments of the community. My number one favorite thing about volunteerism is there is something for everyone. I don't care how old you are. I don't care what disability you have. There's something for you. And if you ever need a pep talk or examples of that, I'm your girl. I know a woman right now over in the Ponte Vedra area. She's 105. She volunteers every single week. There are legions of stories of persons with disabilities that volunteer. We have an entire school of young adults, all with disabilities, Chautauqua Learn and Serve School in Panama City, Florida, in Bay County. Above their door, it says to serve and not be served. That's their curriculum. Every single day, they do service projects. So there's something for everybody, and we want to encourage that. 5 elements of the volunteer management, which you know, all of these agencies know this. I will say that Betsy was like a textbook. I have not heard Betsy talk about her mentoring other than, you know, she and I have been friends for a long time. She hit every single point, exactly. And many of the agencies talked about the importance of screening and placing people. That is so important. So planning your volunteer program, the recruiting of volunteers is essential. Making sure that they're oriented, that they understand what they're a part of, and teaching them. That's why those training opportunities are so important, because it's so good to understand what you're part of and what the outcome is and what you're going for. And then supervising, having them have good supervision, feel like they're part of something, and of course evaluating and recognizing at the end. Policies and procedures, we've talked about. There's many things on the table. You can contact Kimberly, Betsy, myself. There are screening. We all understand the need for screening and background checks. You know, all you have to do is imagine it's one of your children sitting out there, or your niece, or your nephew. You know, you want to know who is working with your child. Hey, I have friends, they want to know who's working with their dog, you know, with their pets. So, so we all understand that. The supervision, the orientation, the training are all so important. If there's waiver forms that need to be signed, we can help you with that. I want to talk for a minute about the leaky bucket syndrome. That's what it's known as across the country. For agencies, for folks like you that are working with volunteers, it's the retention issue. Wherever you go, people want to know about retention. How can I keep volunteers? Why did they leave? What didn't we do? What can we do? What should we change? So I bring this up because 36% of volunteers came and did not come back the next year. That's huge. When you go through all this training, all the things that people are talking about, all the work that Betsy puts in, and then people aren't coming back, 4 out of 10 people don't show back up, that's huge. So, some things to mitigate that is, these are the top reasons that they give. It's not what I volunteered to do, underutilized or poor placement, poor training if it was provided, they weren't needed. That's not necessarily the case in mentoring. They've got people waiting for this. But it's just some things to keep in mind as you're working with volunteers. Listen to them, and maybe even consider, if you have the time, because it's tough, checking back. If somebody says, I'm going to mentor with Leon County Schools, kind of do some checks with them. And just say, hey, how'd that go? Did you go to that training? Is that working out for you? Because you're going to help them, you're going to help your agency keep them volunteering, and you're going to help Betsy or the others to say, Betsy, you know, Kimberly is not, she doesn't think this is for her. She doesn't know how to tell you that, but this isn't for her. So, and it makes all the screening things so much more important. Yes, you.
Actually, what we're going to launch kind of is where I want to fill out the paperwork for like the executive management team. Their time is more crucial. Like their push for, you know, time is of the essence. So helping with their paperwork and their application or whatever they need to do and getting them to where they need to be.
Excellent.
Making it as easy as possible.
Right, right. And that's that trickle thing. That's what we're trying to do for you, too. So if you can make it easier in your agency by having brochures, putting up posters, having a number handy of, I can't answer that question for you, but I'll find out. Why doesn't it count if I want to mentor my own child? That's a great question. And so, you know what? I can't remember what they said about that, but here's the person that can tell you. Here's her name and here's her number. So anything that we can do to make it easier for you so that you can make it easier, I think is going to up your chances with working with your folks. Poor volunteer management, leads to people not coming back. We've all been there. We've all been there. How many times have you been asked to come and work at the VIP tent at Red Hills? And you get there. And there's 14 people. What am I supposed to do? Oh, wow. Well, just stay over here with them because there's going to be stuff for you to do in a little bit. You know, it's my Saturday morning or it's my Friday afternoon. I don't want to stand around. I mean, it's having things prepared and doing things the right way. My other example of that is I was asked to come in and consult with the city of Jacksonville. They have their river walk and they have lots and lots of events, but they don't have an event staff. It's their city employees that staff things. So they were looking for volunteers and their volunteer program kept shrinking. So they said, will you come talk to us about how to help? So I got a group of the city employees together and they had an event coming up. I said, okay, well, let's start with what volunteers you need just for the VIP tent and the welcome tent. I said, okay. I said, how many volunteers do you need for the weekend? 10 or 20. Okay, 10 or 20. That's a big difference. You know, oh, okay, well, 20. Okay, well, how long do you want them to work? Give me a job description. What kind of jobs will they do? Because people are willing to volunteer, they just don't, they want to know what they want to do, what they're going to do. And if somebody says, you know, in the job descriptions, that's why I wanted you to have hear what these agencies were saying. Have a little bit of an idea of what this agency is going to do. What kind of things can I do at Boys and Girls Clubs? What kind of things can I do at Take Stock in Children? I'm not good in math. That's okay, because maybe you can just be a mentor to someone by being their friend, listening to them, letting them talk. This is a high school kid. So, you know, just to get some ideas flowing, that's the kind of job description. Job description can be at a VIP tent, friendly, outgoing, smiles, likes to work with people. That's not tough. It doesn't have to be for a Rhodes Scholarship. And then I know I can sign up and say, okay, I'll do the greeter. I don't want to take any money. Now, don't let that person show up and sit them down at the table and say, you're going to be taking money, because we're back into the retention issues. So just little things that you can do and you know, bear in mind what some of the questions they're asking you, and you have resources. Why do people stop volunteering? You know, you can go back, you can get them excited, you're excited, you've got all this information. So some of the reasons they stop volunteering have been up there. You can help mitigate some of that by keeping in touch, talking to them, seeing if they're not happy, you know, and you can help them place them in something else. That's good. Jamie's going to show you a couple of resources for people that come in and say, you know, I already mentor. I don't want to mentor. I already work with Red Hills. But I might be interested in working with Habitat for Humanity. Okay, well, let's see what is available in your area. And send them to another place, or send them to me. Don't say, no, that doesn't qualify for this. You can't volunteer. On time and skills not being utilized well. The big thing to remember is we all have the same pie. The 24-hour day is not growing. And we all know it. We're all in it together. All that happens is the pie gets in slivers, little slivers. And so what I try to encourage volunteer agencies and volunteer managers to remember is that if someone is willing to give you a slice, a sliver of their day, really honor that. Recognize it, make good use of it, don't waste it. It's very valuable. I'll let you talk.
I'm going to make you look at your books again. While you're kind of opening your books, let's see. I want you to go to chapter 5. I'm going to give you my Dear Abby advice. I was president of a state association for volunteers many years ago, and as the former president handed me the gavel, and I was shaking in my boots, and I said, oh my gosh, what do I do, what do I do? She said, Betsy, memorize the bylaws. she was right, absolutely right. If you memorize in your brain and your heart what Kimberly said about these rules about how to utilize the hour of state agency time, you will be so glad. I mean, if you can actually spout that stuff without looking at it, because you're going to get calls. And the more you understand the rules and regulations, you are now the guru for your agency about what can and cannot be done with the hour that people have been given. So my friend said, memorize the bylaws, and she was right. So I'm handing out advice off to you, and you'll be real happy if you follow that. We're going to talk about recruitment, and we have things that are going to help you. Whether or not your agency sets a goal of a percentage, that is entirely up to you and your CEO. I have things that I can loan you that will help you do recruitment. Number one is, if you want to borrow the mentor display from Leon County Schools, and we already have folders made up that have information folders that people can just take away. They're already stuffed, ready to go. If you decide, DOE did a mentor fair where they had all the different agencies put their little tables up for a week in the lobby. They just let our stuff sit there so that when people came in the morning or went out to lunch, they saw our things and they picked up brochures. Then they had I call them lunch and learns, but it can be any time of the day if your agency decides that you want to do an event, an actual recruitment event. And I remember the days that DOT used to do great ones, Department of Revenue often did great ones, ACA did. It's just one afternoon, one morning, whether you want coffee and donuts or you want, in the afternoon, DOE did popcorn, which was great, and music. And we all had our displays, and then people just came up to us that we had talked to earlier in the week, and we were mobbed. We had lots of, the CEO came, which is critical. You have a lunch and learn scheduled, or you have an afternoon where it's the mentor fair day or the volunteer fair day, and there's no big VIP there to greet, your attendance will be about zero. So you've got to get the big wigs involved in encouraging people to come. And we had a great time. But if you just want a display to put in your lobby, you're welcome to borrow it from me. I loan it out to schools at open house nights. So that's nights where I can't loan it to anybody because they're up. I have 2 mentor displays, and they're up all over the counties when our schools are having our open house nights. So also posters, the big poster that we have in the middle, we have for any agency that's allowed to put up a poster. I know each agency there might be some rules and regulations, but if you think you might be allowed to put one up, we have a free poster for you to take away today, so just ask me. If you look at the purple pages, how do you get ready to recruit mentors? Internal paperwork, somebody asked about that. I want to get a shout out to DOE. If you go to their website, they just did a great job of announcing that they're recruiting mentors. They did the form that you have to fill out. They even linked their website to a little form that I have, and they listed all the training dates that I have. So they made it real simple. And I hate reinventing the wheel, and I hate retyping anything. So borrow from Ross anything that you can to make your life easier. If you want to do an in-house event and you want a bunch of these agencies to come, please let us know fairly early. I have 18 trainings scheduled in the month of August. So the sooner that I know that you want us to do a presentation, and it doesn't hurt my feelings if you want me to just set this up and leave, or I'll get another administrator to come if I can't come. But let us all know pretty quickly. I'm going to answer one question that came up. The idea of a parent mentoring their own child. In 28 years of us having our mentor program, we have never, underline, never allowed that to happen. Teachers are not requesting that. That is not of interest to them. That child's at home all day long with mama or papa. So we need outsiders to mentor this child, have a new face, a new personality in their life. Other things that you can do for recruitment, your internal email system is wonderful. Just letting people know, hey, my training schedule is emailable. It's a PDF. If you email me and you say, Betsy, I'd like your latest training schedule, I can email it to you. And then you can send it out through your in-house mail. And then people just call our office and register for their training that they want. I never leave an audience without talking about not everybody wants to mentor. I am well aware after 28 years that if I speak to a group of 100 people, realistically 10 to 15% are going to actually come to a mentor training, because mentoring is not for everybody. But I'll tell you, of a group of 100 people, 100% can assist a child. They can bring a canned good. If y'all are going to do maybe a canned good drive for the holidays, we have data that supports that our needy kids, we don't feed them during the winter holidays, which is 2 weeks. We have children that we feed breakfast, lunch, and dinner for free. And since we're closed for 2 weeks, they don't get those meals. And we have data that shows that they lose weight the 2 weeks that we're closed in December. So if your agency is willing to hold a canned food drive, we have kids that could really need the help. And everybody can bring a can of tomato soup to the agency or do a sock drive. We have kids that come to school in January in flip-flops with no socks. So there's always a way to help. I want to say hats off to DOT. For years, they were even our outstanding partner of the year. They have graciously purchased wonderful gifts for 2 schools at the holidays for kids who would not have any kind of holiday, not only for the children, but for their family members as well. So there's lots of things that you can do to help. I would say 50% of the furniture in my office is because the state agencies have been so generous. The principals were told this week that there's more furniture coming from state agencies, and they are all applauding. The Dell computer under my desk is from some state agency that didn't want it anymore. So y'all have lots of things that schools can use, even your laser cartridges that you take out of your printers. I collect them because I get money for them from Office Depot, and then I buy supplies for teachers. So you can always call me. I have a van. I'll be glad to pick them up. You'd be surprised what schools will use from a state agency. The color printer on my table beside my desk came from Department of Revenue when they were remodeling their floors, and they decided that the color printer just was in the way. And I bless you guys every single morning. So think before you throw something away, could a school use it?
And I just want to interject also that, you know, if you don't have an idea, if you give Betsy a call or any of those agencies and ask what their needs are, you might be able to tailor some kind of a drive towards something that they really need.
On the second purple page, it talks about a lunch and learn event. I have done dozens of these, especially since 1999 when all the state agencies were recruiting for Governor Bush. I have been to great ones, and I have been to ones that were absolute flops. So I decided to come up with a page of how do we do them. So here's the goals. You want to provide people with information. You want to keep it short and sweet, and you want to talk to people about policies that they need to know about, and invite people. Make sure that there's enough notice. And food works. I'm telling you, popcorn is cheap, and they put popcorn in the DOE lobby and some really nice kind of rock music, and everybody, late in the afternoon, people were tired. It was a good time for them to have a break, and so we had a good time. Invite the people from the other agencies, and by the way, if their agency is going to serve Leon County School children, guess where they get fingerprinted? Through me. So we all work together. Take Stock in Children, Big Brothers Big Sisters, Reading Pals. Did I leave anybody out? I don't think so. Did I, all of them? Pretty much if they serve on our property, they go through my office. We fingerprint them. They all get the badges. So it's a good idea to do a lunch and learn or any kind of recruitment fair if you're prepared to do it. And my last page is just a simple little interest form, which is also emailable. It's not required, but if I get one of these on my fax machine or email to me, they will get in return a nice little letter from me that says, I'd love for you to mentor. Here's when I'm training. Here's the map. And here is the job description for mentoring, because people were asking me, what is mentoring? Every mentor group in town has a different definition, but Leon County Schools has a specific definition, and I'm just going to go through the real quick and short ones. To us, you have to mentor in a school that has a trained, appointed mentor coordinator. So I cannot put you in a school that doesn't have one. I can't imagine there'll be any school that's not participating this year. Every mentor has to receive formal training, even a retired teacher. They all will be fingerprinted by us. They have to pass their background check. The intent is they're going to be matched with a child that we select that needs their services for once-a-week services. Yes, ma'am?
I have a question. We're trying to encourage mentoring as well at our agency, and can they request to mentor a child with a disability?
Yes.
Okay.
If it is a personal family friend or someone that they know, I refer all requests, if they are naming a child, that request goes directly to the mentor coordinator, because I'm never allowed to bump a child's name to the top of the list, because every school has a waiting list, and that is not my area to ever tell a mentor coordinator or principal that this child has to be served ahead of another. But certainly, I think it's appropriate if somebody feels they have the expertise to serve a disabled child. They may need some extra training from someone at the school, but they certainly can request that. I have placed mentors as young as high school students who serve Kate Sullivan. My oldest mentor is 91. So age is not the issue. This is our actual job description for a mentor in any school situation. It's generic, but these are basically what we want our mentors to do, but they all have to follow that basic criteria that we're going to train them, we're going to fingerprint them, they're going to work under the supervision of a trained mentor coordinator. And these are the things that we want our mentors to do. And this is given to every mentor at their training. I always talk about other volunteer opportunities. In the back, I have lots of resources, like y'all want the brand new principal list because I was excited to get it. They have hired a few new principals and they moved some APs around. So I did get you that. The actual critical Leon County School calendar, so you know when we are closed. And by the way, the easiest way to read this calendar is the side with the grid. If there's no S in the block, there are no children on campus. So if that person's telling their supervisor, oh, I'm going to go mentor on that day, this calendar is public. It's on Leon County Schools website. If there's no S in the block there, I guarantee you there's no children there. So if they're trying to mentor on a teacher planning day, they're at the mall. The pink page is basic, big events that you need to be aware of. Like, we would like all of our state agencies to become official partners with Leon County Schools. We have 1,000 official partnerships. Don't let that scare you. That just means that a partner coordinator may call you, and it may be the same person as the mentor coordinator as it is at Bond Elementary. They just want you to become official so they can fold you into their partner program, because that's the only way you get invited to Partner Kickoff. And this is our official partner newsletter, which I do. And Partner Kickoff, or our Partner Award event, is the end of October this year. And all of our state agencies, we want you all to be represented in the book and be invited so you can meet all the principals. So don't be scared if your partner coordinator gives you a call. I did include Make a Difference Day. National Mentoring Month is always January. School Volunteer Month was a big deal to Leon County Schools this February. The Democrats' Luncheon for Volunteer of the Year is always in April. Anybody can nominate. So if you have a fabulous mentor from your agency, you nominate, that person gets a free lunch. It's a very nice ceremony. National Volunteer Week, and of course we want our agencies to help recognize our teachers. So Teacher Appreciation Month for us is May. Here's the map of all the places that I train most of the time, and most importantly where fingerprinting is. It's a tiny office. I always encourage adults, get fingerprinted early in the morning because the lines of college students once they start school again are very long. That's why I'm training in August for the very first time, so that I can get people trained and fingerprinted before the college kids hit our city. So anybody tell them get trained early, they will be grateful to me. If they decide they just want to volunteer, I have a volunteer coordinator in every school and every state agency. Y'all can help with school supplies. State agencies have been very generous in the past. This is where you just put a box in the hallway with some apples on it that says, please help a child, and have people throw in school supplies. Our social workers are the only ones who distribute. Nobody else is allowed to get a hold of those supplies, and they have a list of children who they know need them. The supplies will come directly to my building, where they will be sorted and our social workers will pick up. And some of the social workers deliver supplies before school starts, so that child, nobody knows that that child started school with nothing. They come to school with their backpack ready to go. So please give us some help with that if you can. And if you need this emailed, I can certainly do that. What have I forgotten?
Sharing Tree? Is that,
Sharing Tree did not give me their flyer, but I'll go ahead and talk. Did anybody not know what Sharing Tree is in Tallahassee? Okay. A couple years ago, we started this fabulous organization called Sharing Tree, and it's a partnership, Leon County, Leon County Schools, and Goodwill. It is now located right off of Gain Street, near the old, what I call the railroad station. It is a place where teachers go to get free things. So anything, but they won't take any more notebooks. I know state agencies love to get rid of those old binders, but they won't take any more. Anything that you think a teacher might need, you may donate, including office supplies, paper, pencils, fabric. If you think a teacher can turn it into a craft, you can look on their website and get a list of things. If I can get her to send me that flyer, I'll send it to you. It's amazing the things that they ask for. And teachers will be going there for shopping there for free starting August 1st, and it will be packed, absolutely packed. So it's a wonderful place to get rid of things that you think nobody else would want. But believe me, teachers will put a coat of paint on it, and our goal is to recycle and keep things out of the trash. And I picked up the phone and I said, you know what, I need 23-inch white notebooks for my office. They pulled them off the shelf and they had a lady deliver it to me. And that would have cost me, geez.
They accept toilet paper, the end rolls, paper towel, the rolls from paper towels, buttons. They have a list. The list that they accept is fantastic. And
you got to think kindergarten teacher. Yeah. Everything that you might glue together, they will use. Any questions on that?
I just wanted to ask about timing. You mentioned that I saw that the trainings are coming up in August, but August 5th is Monday. So it might be hard to promote. Will you have some others in September?
I train mentors almost weekly the entire school year. And I post a brand new calendar. We're having a meeting today, and I hope to do evening trainings in August if they will approve my site. And I think the evening trainings will be very well received.
And can you start at any point during the year?
Generally, you may start at any time, except I think most schools are going to tell me after spring break they won't take any more mentors, because by that time they're gearing up for testing and saying goodbye to the kids. I usually get a big input of mentors in January because it is mentoring month, but after spring break most of my schools are going to say, it's too late, Betsy, it's too late to get to know the child, and they're preparing for their big testing sequence. So yes, I do train almost every single week, and I post my training calendar on my website, on the new mentoring website, and as soon as I get all your email addresses in one group fashion, you'll get an email from me monthly or twice a month, depending. What questions did I not answer? I'm trying to think. I did want to answer a question about background checking because I know you're going to get this question. I'm a social worker by training. People are going to come up to you possibly and close the door to your office, and they're going to come up to you and say, I'd love to mentor, but 20 years ago when I was a college student, I did something stupid. You may tell them to call me, and you tell them, I am a social worker. I believe in confidentiality till the day I die. I am not a decision maker on this issue of can they or can they not mentor. I can tell them what the committee is looking for is no felonies. They are looking for 3 recent and consecutive years of no interaction with Mr. Policeman. They don't care about parking tickets, they don't care about speeding tickets, and they'll forgive you if you're lousy at balancing your checkbook, unless it's out and out fraud. What they're looking for is, do you have a good clean record, no felonies, nothing that hurts children, nothing on your record that shows violence, guns, drugs, things that hurt children. They will not forgive that stuff even if it's 25 years old. But something that happened 20 years ago when you were in college and you did something foolish, it does go before a committee, and on the committee are police officers. They make the decision, and simply all I get is a piece of paper that says this person can mentor and make their badge. And if the answer is no, that person gets a formal letter through the mail from our security office, not from me. And they may appeal. If it tells them if they want to appeal, the appeal is not in person, it's in writing. They would have to provide court documents and things like that. I've only had maybe 3 people follow the appeal process in about the last 15 years. But again, if they want to discuss it, I usually refer them directly to the head of security or the head of fingerprinting. Both are police officers, and they will talk to them confidentially about whether or not they think it's a go or a no-go with no embarrassment. And again, we do not discuss what we find with employers. That's not our role in our life. So I think a person has the right to decide if they want to do this, if they're uneasy about it. When I train somebody and we talk about the background check process, I do not force them. I tell them, if you like what I've talked about, then I will give you the background check paperwork. If you're not sure, if you want to check with your boss, then just check with me later. So I let people ease out the door without embarrassment. I just think that's the nicest thing to do. Some people wait until January because they got a big wedding coming or they got a big project coming, and certainly that's understandable.
Okay. And I put some recognition ideas. This is just a beginning to get everyone thinking. Volunteer Florida, on our website, volunteerflorida.org, you can search for Champion of Service awards. Those awards are awarded monthly at the cabinet meetings. This month there wasn't a cabinet meeting, and so the award was given at our commission meeting. And Jamie can talk a little bit more about that. Those come in, you can send them in, nominate, and anytime. The forms are online. It's very easy, and all nominations are kept for the full calendar year. So come January, you can nominate again. The annual Volunteer of the Year Awards locally, that is Leon County, sponsored by the Tallahassee Democrat. That happens the last Thursday of April. They start taking nominations around the early part of March, around the middle of March. And they close them out usually the 1st of April, and there's a committee of reviewers that works on those awards. That also coincides with Florida Volunteer Month, which is April. That's statewide. Some ideas, a personal note from your executive, the commissioner, the secretary of your agency, commending people for their volunteering is always nice. Recognition in your newsletter or at staff meetings. Sorry, what did I do?
Sorry, that was me.
Okay. Oops, yeah, that's fine, because you're gonna pull your map up. So any of those types of things, if there's a bulletin board or any other ideas that you may have for staff meetings. And I'll let Jamie
Sorry, oh, I've got one. Okay, so hello, I'm Jamie O'Rourke. I'm the External Affairs Director at Volunteer Florida. And I didn't mean to cut off your presentation. I just know we're running a little late, so I wanted to go ahead and pull up our website and show you some of the materials that we've developed that can help you to communicate all of this exciting information within your agencies. In your notebooks, you have behind tab 2, you have this nifty little one-pager that you can print front and back, but I think this will be expanding because we'll have increased partners. But this is a great thing that you can print out and just have around your agency to show the different mentoring opportunities that we have here in Leon County. I'm sure that we've talked a little bit in this meeting about how it's really starting here in Leon County. Obviously, we're statewide agencies, and so we will be continuing to update information on our website with different counties as we have that information developed. But for right now, I know many of us are here in Leon County. We have this great little handout of Leon County partners. You can download this from our website. I'm going to show you where in just a minute. But you can download this and then have it with an information booth if you are able to set something like that up in your agency. And that could be great information to have handy so people can get, you know, has a little description about what the different opportunities mean and what they are. So wanted to draw your attention to that. And then behind tab 3, we also have 2 kind of cool handouts that you can print out. So this would be a great thing if you've got one of those 3-tiered brochure little pamphlet holders that you could put in your front of your agency. This one is just a one-pager of the administrative rule, kind of explains it. It's not a copy of the actual rule itself verbatim, but just wanted to kind of give people, you know, what is mentoring, what can I do, and I'll certainly be running this by. This came from DMS, but I'll make sure Kimberly has another look at it and that it's absolutely accurate. And, you know, again, we'll show you where to download that information. And third, we also have this cool little FAQ, Florida Mentors FAQ, that's also behind tab 3. This is designed, it's a PDF, and something great about this is that it gives you this little area that you can personalize. So it says, who can I contact to get started? And that's where you can put Florida DOT, here's my name, here's my email, and here's my phone number. So that way people know within your agency if they have questions that they can get in touch with you. And that's also 2-page. It has, you know, just some common questions that have come up. We can change these at any time, so if you really notice that you're getting a persistent question that you think should be added to this, just let us know, and we'll be certainly, you know, happy to update it and happy to do that. So please let us know about that. And then just want to show you, here's our website. I was very excited in May. We launched a new website. Yay! So that was pretty thrilling. And on our homepage, you will see, let's see. We wanted to make sure that, okay, here we go. We wanted to make sure that right there, as soon as someone goes to the website, it's going to say Florida Mentors campaign encourages state employees to mentor. So you can click on that, and it's got a little bit of information. Let me scroll down. Okay, there we go. Oh, sorry, the mouse is being a little tricky. But scroll down, it kind of says why is mentoring important. Right here where it says Florida Mentors campaign, you can click on Learn More. And so this has these handouts. So it's kind of got the frequently asked questions, it's got the administrative rule, and this is really something that anytime if anyone's kind of, you know, hopefully further down the line, we're going to have PSAs, we're going to say go to volunteerflorida.org for more information. This way they can go here, and you can also go here for the materials that we've talked about. And we'll also be adding materials to this. So we'll probably put in a zip file the entire toolkit that you have. That way, in case you lose it, something happens, you're wanting to find a specific slide or presentation that was a part of that, we're going to be always adding materials here. That way you can always go to one central place, have it there, and any ideas, if there's something that we did not cover today that you think would be helpful, let us know, and we're happy to develop more materials that can be added to this. And then one final thing that I want to show you, which we can go to from here or from our homepage. If people, when you go to our homepage, sorry, I know it's not showing up fully, but we do have this really great interactive map that we've developed as part of our new website. So if you go to volunteerflorida.org, right there on the homepage it says volunteer, or you can get to it through the Florida Mentoring page. We're trying to get people directed to it as many places as possible. But something, yes, volunteer now, because we're trying to get everyone signed up. But one of the great things is we did this map so that way some of our frequent partners, we administer AmeriCorps programs across the state. So we wanted to make sure that people could go to their different county and see if there's AmeriCorps programs, if there are volunteer centers who Mary partners with frequently. And now we're adding our mentoring partners to this list as well. So if we click on Leon County, which you're going to make fun of me, I'm not originally from Florida, so I'm always like, and trying to click here. And I don't know why this isn't. Well, Yeah, no, I'm clicking it. Okay.
Maybe put is the box for the zip code.
Yeah, let's do that way. Let's see. Okay, normally it does this cool little thing where you can float right over it and click on it, but not sure if it's the Internet Explorer version that might be giving me some troubles here. Anyway, we're able to pull up Leon County, got the Volunteer Center, got our mentoring partners. So everyone who presented today, there's their contact information, which is great. So that way if you just need like a quick, like, oh, you know, I want to show them, or someone in your agency, you want to email them the link and say, you know, look at this map, click on Leon County, here's a link to all the different partner agencies' websites. We just wanted to have that information in a central place, that way it's quick, you can go to it, you can send that to them. Also for the other counties, we have so far updated all of the counties with their Betsy. So any county in Florida has their volunteer coordinator through their school system, through their school district. It's on every single county. So again, if you get a call from someone who's in Miami-Dade, unfortunately we don't have our fully developed list of all of them. Of course, there's gazillions of mentoring agencies in Miami-Dade County. And we're working on getting updated information about all of our partners there, and we will be adding and updating this throughout the fall. But as of right now, we do currently have their Betsy, their volunteer coordinator for the school district, and they're going to have their information there. So if you have a state employee who's not located here in Tallahassee, but they're interested in mentoring, that's a great place to start. So do y'all have any questions? Let me just make sure I covered everything. I think that was it. You can contact me anytime. I'm sorry I didn't bring cards or put information up here, but you can go to volunteerflorida.org and look at our staff page, or certainly get in touch with Mary and she knows how to find me. So thank you.
And all of us are on a first name at volunteerflorida.org. It's all spelled out. So it's Mary, Jamie, Jayme, and so forth.
Sorry to be difficult.
Can you
yes.
Put me back? Okay. Perfect. Some strategies. Show volunteers how they can make a difference. Finding ways to thank and recognize them. You know, I have not heard anybody ever say, oh my God, if I hear thank you one more time, I'm just going to, no. Using technology as a strategy, as Jamie just pointed out, going and finding these things. Find out what's important to the volunteer. Talk to them. And finding their passion is going to, and getting them in the right place, that's going to speak to their betterment, your betterment, the success of this program and any other volunteer program, and it's going to help with that retention issue. Evaluate, and by evaluation, again, it doesn't have to be a survey monkey. It doesn't, you know, just a conversation. How's it going? Are you enjoying that? Maybe if somebody is really going great guns, a recognition strategy and a recruitment tool is might be to say, hey Steve, would you come and talk at the staff meeting and tell about the success of, you know, I've been with this little kid for 3 weeks, they didn't speak to me, now we're talking, he just got an A for the first time in spelling. I mean, just sharing your successes and evaluating that way of helping all of us do a better job as well. And training volunteer leaders like yourselves. And, you know, doing something where you're teaching other people in your agency why it's important to be involved as a mentor liaison. A final thought. Does anybody know the #1 reason people start volunteering? They were asked. That's right. That's right. They were asked. Year in and year out, across the country, nationwide, that's the #1 answer, is because they were asked. Over 70%. So if you're not asking people, you're missing the boat 7 out of 10 times. It's so important. And if you think about it from your own perspective, I like to tell everyone, I told Zach the other day, I tell everyone I'm arguably normal. And thinking about myself, how many times have I found myself, or have you found yourself somewhere doing something for no other reason than your sister asked you or your neighbor? So sometimes it really does matter who's doing the asking. Resources, that's fine, yep. And the last and final thing before we take any of your final questions is just a reminder that never forget when you're working with people, whether it's recruiting and mentoring or in any kind of volunteer activity, that people will forget what you wore, they'll forget what they ate, they'll forget what you said, they will never forget how you made them feel. And so moving forward, Betsy talked a little bit about setting goals, and that will be up to you and your leadership as to, you know, a percentage or a number of people. We'd like to get 50 people from our agency. I mean, we'd like to have 10%. So, you know, we don't want to put some number out there. 15% of 3,000 is a lot. So, and you know better than we do what the parameters should be and what the right goals will be for your agency. We look at you as experts of your own experience. So we'll trust you with that. Superintendent Pons that spoke earlier put a press conference together and is asking for 500 more volunteers. Betsy is a textbook volunteer manager. You saw how organized, all of her things in order. She talked about every single thing. She hit everything I talked about with job descriptions, with helping keep people, making sure they're informed, making sure they're in the right places. So all of that kind of thing is in place for you moving forward. So as you set your goals, then, you know, please look at that and set goals appropriate for your agency. And scheduling your kickoff and recruiting, we can help you with other ideas. Betsy talked about some of the, you know, it can be a fair or having one or another agency come in. If Betsy's not available, maybe one of the other agencies is available, or we can have someone from Volunteer Florida come, or from our mentoring committee to talk to your group. We're happy to do that. We're asking you, of course, to get started as soon as possible because school is right around the corner, and it would be fantastic if mentors were ready to go the second week of school so that they can be assigned to these kids in need. And finally, my contact information, my cell phone, and I'm available to help. And I know we're running over, so I won't keep you, but I'll stay and answer your questions, or if any of you have questions or comments.
Do you have a job description for what we do?
You know, for the mentor liaison, we... Okay. Okay, it was sent out with the letter? Okay, so yes, we'll get that. Can we post that on the mentoring site? And then I will email it. Did everyone sign in when you came in so that I have a good email address for you? If you'll do that, then without further ado, please take any bagels or food you'd like. And thank you again for spending your morning with us. And please call on me if I can help you in any way.